Now, match 6. The numbers are 48, 2, 19, 38, 39, 20. Thanks for playing the Pennsylvania Lottery. It benefits older Pennsylvanians every day.
Welcome to Philadelphia Live, you guys. We have a full show for you tonight. We know what happened on Monday. It wasn't pretty with the Sixers, but we have another chance up against the New York Knicks. We are live in New York City again tonight, 7 o'clock. This game was supposed to start, so right about now, we're hoping that the boys are getting on the court. Maybe they're singing the national anthem, whatever it may be. We know fans are super excited. You're taking a live look at the streets of New York City, of course, looking over Radio City Music Hall. It is a busy night. When is it not in New York? Again, though, we're hoping that our guys are focused. They've got their heads on straight. Of course, they'll be playing tonight without Joel Embiid, which we're going to talk about that too. What do you think about his decision not to play tonight? They do say that he's injured. They say they're expecting an ankle injury, a hip injury. And again, we know what happened on Monday when he was hit in the side. Maybe his appendix, his abdomen area hurts as well. Who knows? So that's what's going on in New York. We'll be touching base with one of our reporters too at a watch party. But I also want to make sure I'm touching base. We got this live chopper shot from our sister station out in Los Angeles. This is a live drug bust. As you can see, we're seeing a tanker in the middle of the street. Tons of law enforcement just littering the area, trying to figure out what's going on. This picture came up for us within the hour. So I'm still trying to learn as much information as I can about this. Again, this is all coming from our sister station in Los Angeles. They'll be able to bring us the latest, as I'm sure this is a very big situation just by the looks of how many law enforcement officers are out there looking into this. But let's get back to the Sixers, because we're streaming here from Philadelphia. A lot of fans are really excited about what's going to happen tonight, some on the edge of their seats. Again, that game was supposed to kick right off just now. Shawnette Wilson, one of our reporters, is live at a watch party here in Philadelphia. And I understand the fans are going crazy. What's the energy like out there?
It's crazy. Playoff t-shirts. I have one. Take a look.
Got
Go.
the merch, guys.
We're live outside Tradesman's right now at 13th and Juniper. And you can see here, you know this crew right here. The Sixers Drumline Band. Kicking off the party here outside Tradesman's to try to get fans to come on out and support our team. The Sixers are trying to bring the same energy that is probably you know where, right here at home, so the fans can continue to root for our team. So you can see the drumline has been here all afternoon, actually. You know, this whole thing just started at 6:30, but they've been here trying to get people to come out and to come inside. I'm looking for someone to grab you. I'm going to grab Antoine Knapp, who's in charge. What's the vibe tonight?
The vibe, the spirits is high. We ready to win game 2. Listen, get down to Tradesman's right now. Come play with the Sixers. Sixers squad 7-6. We ready to run a hole through the wall. Let's go Sixers. Beat the Knicks.
Now you guys were up and down the street, right? Trying to get people to come down here and support our team. This is like the game is at home. It's not tonight, but we're bringing the energy like it is.
We gonna bring it like it is every night. We don't care if they're away. We don't care if they're home. We gonna play every time like we're home. They're bringing the energy because we need it. Philadelphia, stand up. Our boys need your help. Stand up. Let's go.
All right, Antoine, Matt, thank you very much. Get back in there. Thank you. I'm going to take you inside Tradesman's right now, and I feel like I am yelling because I can't hear myself. But here's inside. You can see they have it set up for this game watch party tonight. We've got balloons. We have a live DJ. We have Sixers staff. We have someone. Hello. Hi. What is happening? happening? I have no idea. It's a party though. So you can see people have started to come out to hopefully enjoy this night, enjoy a game, and get in the win. The Sixers are going to be giving away giveaways here tonight. T-shirts like this, which I showed you already, and some other things just to get the fans excited and ready to support the team. I'm going to take a chance and see if we can walk over here today really quick and talk to someone. Oh, hi, it's a bright light, beautiful.
Hi, how are you?
You turned around at the right time. Why'd you decide to be here tonight?
Because Bailey Franklin's coming, and I've already met Gritty and the Fanatic. So
Wait, did you say Franklin's coming?
apparently I've heard.
Aren't you excited about that?
I'm very excited to see Franklin. I'm also very excited to see the Sixers hopefully win.
Absolutely. What's the energy like in here tonight, even though the game's away?
The game is away, but that's okay because Philly always brings the energy.
How are you feeling going into this game tonight?
A little nervous, but it's Philly sports. Are you not nervous ever? Even when in the Super Bowl when we were up 40, I was still nervous.
All right. What's your name?
Noelle?
Noelle, thank you so much. So Noelle said that she is excited to see Franklin. I am too. I'm a super Franklin fan. Like, don't talk to me about Franklin. Hey, y'all. Hi, beautiful.
Hi.
How you feeling being here
I
tonight?
am good. I'm excited to watch the game.
Yeah, what's your feeling going into this game?
You know what? We're going to blow it out the park. I know. I have a good feeling.
Even without Joel Embiid?
You know what? They're just going to have to put more pressure.
All right. You talking or you letting the beauty talk? How you feeling tonight?
I feel like we got a chance. I mean, we beat the Celtics, right? The Celtics are, I feel like, a better team. The Knicks ain't no joke, but I believe in my Sixers, even though Embiid's taking a little bit off today, but I love Embiid. Nothing but love for this team.
I feel the same as him. He says we weren't supposed to beat the Celtics, and we did, so we can take this too. So, Judea, it's very loud in here, but it is a good, loud energy. That's the thing. I don't know if I'm going to be able to hear anything you're saying. So, yeah, talk to me so I can test it out.
Okay, we're gonna test the room. First and foremost, it's so funny to me. This is so Philly coded that the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air song comes on as you're talking. Can you hear that?
Right on cue. Right on cue. DJ
Absolutely,
knows
like a
what
paid
time it
actor.
is. He knows to do everything Philly right now, right? We're all Philly. All Philly right now.
Absolutely. Okay, so I heard about these watch parties. You mentioned they're going to have giveaways. I know they've got plenty of food, plenty of
Yeah.
drinks for people out there to get out there, watch the game. Oh, and plenty of merch. We love to see the merch.
Yeah. So
What
I
size
think
is
it's going
that,
to be a good
Shawnette?
time. Like, more and more people are starting. It's too big for us. You know, I asked
That's
them
a
for a
sleek
prop,
t-shirt.
and I thought it was understood that I was going to take the prop home. But, you know,
They said we're going to make
I mean,
sure you return
this
this
is
at
like
the end of the night.
beyond a sleep shirt for us. Yeah. I'm going to try to exchange it, and I'll try to grab one for you, too.
Ooh, thank you. See, closed mouths don't get fed. Thank you. Oh my gosh, so much energy in the room. I'm seeing people weigh in on TikTok right now too. Ooh, somebody said Embiid is hurt, he's flopping. First of all, the game just started, guys. You don't know what's gonna happen. We are gonna come out on top. I already feel it. We have so much against us right now. A lot of people thinking that we can't do this, and that's the energy that we need to just turn into fuel to make sure that we come out on top. And I think that we can do it. I don't know. I think we can do it. Shawnette, you do seem like you're having a great time with everybody out there. I heard you say you were excited to see Ben Franklin, that you don't play about him, so I'm gonna let you get to it. Please take a pic, a selfie, and send it back to the station if you do see him tonight. I would love to get that.
Promise.
Thank you. All right, and you and I, you guys, we are going to keep the energy going. These Sixers need us. They need us, and so we got to keep it up. I don't want to hear any bad talk in the comment section. It's all positive vibes here. That's what we're doing tonight. All right, so we're gonna keep it going. There's so much going on in terms of live events. I also want to get you a look at your weather forecast. We'll be touching base with one of our meteorologists in just a second. A quick reminder, though, we're keeping our eyes on that situation developing in Los Angeles, and I do see that this is a much bigger drug bust than I thought. Right now, they say the feds have already seized $10 million worth of fentanyl. They've arrested 17 people. This is MacArthur Park that we were taking a look at the top of the show, that big drug raid. Again, I'm getting more information in from our sister station. So as soon as I have even more details to give you all, trust and believe you'll get it right here on Philadelphia Live. With that being said, want to take things back hyper local. What's going on here in the Philadelphia area, the Jersey area, South Jersey, Delaware. So let's turn things over to our meteorologists. We see that the people are getting out there still. It doesn't matter that the game is in New York City. They are excited here in Philly. But talk to me about the weather forecast, Scott. What are we looking at?
Yeah, well, actually, it's not that bad, Judea. We saw our steadiest showers earlier in the day, but we're watching a cold front that's on the move. That will drop the temperatures for Thursday, upper 50s to low and mid 60s if we're lucky for Philadelphia. Right now, peaks of sunshine out there in many locations, north and west suburbs, also into parts of South Jersey, but we are keeping tabs far to the north and west into sections of Berks County. That's where we do have a few scattered showers kind of moving back into Berks County, as well as for the Lehigh Valley, mainly along Interstate 78. So that could even contain a rumble of thunder as we move forward in time. But most of us looking pretty good here, despite the kind of gloomy day that we had. A few peaks of sunshine. That cold front is still off to the north and west, but the winds are out ahead of it, south and west, those winds behind it out of the north and west. So here's the overall look. Taking a live view, this is Dining Under the Stars in media kicking off today. And the weather, it is cooperating there on State Street. You can see folks they block off State Street. The restaurants have specials, prefix specials, and you can just see folks are just kind of having a nice time. So the weather is cooperating for us in Media Delco, kind of signs of the season with the kickoff of Dining Under the Stars. Those temperatures currently for Philadelphia at 71 degrees, upper 60s in Wilmington now at 67 in Doylestown, 62 right now at the airport in Atlantic City. So cooler there, cooler in the Poconos, numbers right now at 51 degrees. So overnight tonight, temperatures will be falling into the upper 40s to low 50s. We'll go 53 degrees for Philadelphia. The average low for this time of year is 51. So really a seasonable overnight. Temperatures for tomorrow, look at these numbers. Just a few degrees below where we should be for this time of year. Gradual clearing. Now, tomorrow will start off rather cloudy. There could be a few showers out there in the morning, especially south and east as that front kind of clears the coast. It will be cooler down the shore tomorrow with temperatures topping out in the upper 50s, but we'll go 66 for Philadelphia, 64 in Allentown, 66 in Reading. So looking pretty good for your Thursday. Dry conditions expected for the most part, other than a morning shower chance. Friday dry, and then for Saturday, Mother's Day weekend, there will be a chance for a few showers on Saturday, especially as we get toward the afternoon time frame. So just kind of watching that. And then Mother's Day, it's trending dry and it's trending warmer. So that is good news. And then take a look at Monday. Yes, more rainfall in the forecast. So we will kind of be in and out of showers, kind of one day rain, one day dry as we get toward next week. But the overall high temperature has gone up for Mother's Day. Mostly sunny, temperatures topping out around 80 degrees. So looking great for Mother's Day. And then those temperatures take a tumble for Monday. We're back at 64 degrees, 67 by Tuesday of next week, 66 by Wednesday. And then those temperatures moving back into the low 70s for next Thursday. Temperatures for next weekend, next Saturday, in the upper 70s. But the timing looks like it is going to work out to get the rain on Saturday instead of Sunday. And then again, we get the rainfall on Monday. So things are looking pretty good for Mother's Day itself. Now, if you have plans or some outdoor dining on Saturday, you might get rained on. So that's kind of how we're kind of looking at Mother's Day weekend.
Sounds great to me. There's so much good stuff happening. Yeah, we got a little bit of rain and it looks like it's going to clear up. So, I mean, we can weather through this little storm here and get through it for 80 some odd degrees later on. I think we can do it for the weekend. It's going to be a good time. Mm-hmm. And speaking of a good time, you all, Scott, I don't know how well you know Ben Franklin, but he's gotten out to the watch party where Shawnette was joining us a little earlier on. Oh, he is rowdy. A couple of seconds ago, she told me he was on the bar, shaking his little tush.
I mean, you wouldn't even know by the time this evening is over. Those folks there won't even realize they're not at the game. They won't even think they're not at MSG. They won't even think they'll think they're there.
Absolutely. I mean,
He's bringing the energy and the game to Philadelphia. So
100% bringing the game, bringing the energy, bringing the vibes.
I see a photographer. Looks like someone's taking pictures of him through the window outside. I saw somebody taking. He's got like a fan club.
Everybody's excited to see him. Showing us. Oh, this young lady said that she's gotten to see a bunch of the mascots. Gritty, as we see. A couple of and so she was really excited to finally see Ben Franklin. I think that she said this was her first time. So she's been collecting those photos like Pokemon.
Yeah.
Love to see it.
Where'd Shawnette go? We gotta look out for Shawnette.
Wait, first of all, she said he came in dripping in cologne. She is on cloud 9 somewhere. She already sent me her selfies. We'll show you guys a little later on. Definitely in fangirl mode, but she's not too far. I can promise you that.
Go Sixers.
Go Sixers. Thank you so much, Scott. Thank you so much, Shawnette, and your photographer, Marty. Oh, we're having a good time on the stream tonight, you guys. So much more coming up for you all. I definitely am going to get in some, if some of you will say, real news of the day. We've got a lot of national news breaking right before our very eyes. Of course, I also want to tell you about some local stories, local news, things that you need to know to make sure that you are keeping yourself safe and informed as the days go on. We'll be right back with more news when we come back. Welcome back to Philadelphia Live, you guys. Remember, we have a full show tonight. I'm hoping to keep the energy going, but of course, I also need to bring you some of the biggest news of the day. Here are a couple of stories, some information happening locally that you need to know about. Marple Township Police Department, they say that they're looking for a group of kids on e-bikes. So yesterday evening, they say around 5:30, 6 o'clock, they got some calls that there were these kids being rowdy. They actually called them reckless on these e-bikes, these electronic bikes. They say they were riding around and at one point in time, they were approached by an adult man who said that he was trying to stop them, tell them to slow down, get them off the bikes because that they were riding around in an unsafe manner. They didn't go into detail of what that unsafe manner meant. But when that adult man tried to approach them, they say that the kids hit him with their e-bikes and kept going. So by 6:20, they say that that group made their way to a Wawa parking lot, and then they say they continued their disrespectful and dangerous behavior, generally wreaking havoc. These are the words of the police department. And they said they fled the scene going up to 45 miles per hour, which is even fast for a car in some areas. It got away. And right now, the Marple Township Police Department says they're still looking for them. Not only do they want the kids, but anybody who witnessed this incident, this scene, maybe even saw that adult male get run over, they want you to contact them immediately. They're hoping to get more information on this. One, of course, to stop the kids, but they say they also want to talk to the parents because they're not understanding how these kids were able to be out and about in this big of a group doing this kind of activity, basically being a public nuisance. So they're trying to find the kids, they're trying to find the parents, and they say they want to hold anybody who was part of this accountable. I also want to make sure that I'm telling you about a big story that may hurt some parents who are listening in. We heard reports that a nonverbal little boy, 5 years old, was left on a school bus for hours. You're taking a look at the boy right there. So of course he has some special needs. His parents were able to talk to us here at Fox 29, but the little boy, he has some trouble with his speaking. So again, he's nonverbal. So they say that he was on the bus for hours. The bus driver, not knowing that there was a child in the back, I'm not sure if maybe they just didn't do a check, why they were riding around for so long without stopping at any point, but this is the information that we were given so far. We know the boy attends Spin School in Northeast Philadelphia, but the school district, they did put out a statement. They say that this is not on them. This is on the bus company that they use, and they're hoping that maybe an investigation can be done to figure out what went wrong in that situation. But I already know, I mean, this is any parent's worst nightmare. You think you're putting your kid on the bus to go to school, to have a good education, they'll come back to you in one piece and be all right, and then to find out, you know, after a while you're waiting for your kid to come home and they don't. You've got questions, and it seems right now no one can give them some solid answers. So they're continuing their fight to try to get some answers for him. They say that by the time he was able to get home, he was upset. He had soiled himself. And so, again, they think that someone needs to be responsible for the situation that unfolded. They talked to one of our reporters, Shayna, earlier today. If you guys want to know more information about this, you want to watch her report back, that's available for you on the fox29.com website, or you can go to the Fox local app and learn more information there as well. Again, big story that we're keeping up with. Now, I told you that the Sixers are playing tonight. Of course, they're on our minds as well. I just got in that picture from Shawnette Wilson, who was out there at the watch party. And again, you guys, she was having a ball. Take a look at her there. She said she wanted to see Ben Franklin, and she sure did. Like literally right after we got off from being live with her, she says he waltzed in and started making his way around the room, schmoozing, getting the energy up, and he sure definitely did. We got to touch base with them after a little while, and again, it looked like they were having a good time. So the Sixers are playing game 2 in New York City. We're hoping that even though Monday, you know, we won't really talk about that, it wasn't a pretty game, we're hoping that is a much different game tonight. I want to touch base with Devin from our sports team. We can give us a better idea of what we're in for tonight. Devin, talk to me about the game ahead, and of course we know Joel is not playing.
Yeah, that's right. So Joel Embiid ruled out of this game with he has a right ankle sprain and then some soreness in his hip. Of course, you know, he came off that appendectomy. I don't know if that had anything to do with him missing game 2 in New York. We all saw what happened with Mikal Bridges. He kind of bumped into Embiid during game 1 into that right hip area, so it could have something to do with that. I'm just hoping, I know a lot of other Sixers fans are just hoping that maybe this isn't a multi-game absence for Joel Embiid and it can be a one-off. So if guys like Tyrese Maxey, if guys like VJ Edgecombe and Paul George can step up in Joel Embiid's absence like they did early in the Celtics series, especially in game 2 of the Celtics series, steal a game up at Madison Square Garden, then come home with the series split 1-1, then maybe Embiid can come back. I don't know the extent of his injuries, but very bad news for the Sixers coming off, as you mentioned, a very rough loss in game 1 against the Knicks on Monday night.
Yeah, for sure. And, not for nothing, it's hard when you're playing in a place like Madison Square Garden and, you're not on your home turf. So, of course, there's going to be a lot of different fans in there. You're hoping to hear some cheers from your guys, but maybe it's a little louder for the other team. So I can only imagine what they're going through emotionally. I'm assuming, got to watch the game. So from your professional opinion, being on the sports team, where did we go wrong? What was going on? And is it something that can be fixed? Not just if the guys fill in for Embiid, but is there something that the team can do tonight where we'll see a much different outcome?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I think as, cop out of an answer as this sounds, the overall issue was the Knicks were just landing all of their shots. Like, they were shooting lights out that night. And the Sixers were uncharacteristically bad on both sides of the ball, offense and defense. It doesn't normally happen in a game where Tyrese Maxey didn't score his first bucket until 5 minutes into the second quarter. That's not normal. It's not normal for Joel Embiid to only have 14 points and be 3 for 11. Tyrese Maxey only had 13 points. VJ Edgecombe got into foul trouble early, so he had to, kind of reel it back in on defense, where he is one of their best defensive players when he's on a guy like Jalen Brunson. So it just felt like it wasn't the Sixers' night, and it was very much the Knicks' night, and I think that momentum was not in the Sixers' favor in Game 1. I think they were still kind of coming down from that high of beating the Celtics in Game 7 up in Boston, and they weren't fully mentally there. So I do think that they can come back, and last I checked, I don't know the score right now, but the Sixers did have a lead over the Knicks. I think that if they really focus on the little things, it felt like they were just outmatched in every area in that first game, but also just playing an uncharacteristic style of basketball. And of course, now we know Joel Embiid was struggling through that game, right? And you could tell he wasn't playing his best basketball. As for Tyrese Maxey, I just don't think he was playing like himself. I think he's fatigued, and I think that tonight they can come back and be a little bit fresher out there on the Madison Square Garden court.
Yeah, hopefully all he needs is just a little bit of rest to get whatever he needs together. We were able to pull up the score while you were talking, so I want to let you know the Sixers are still up. They actually just scored, so it's 17-14, and it's not a bad start. I mean, it kind of looks like they're just trading buckets at this point in time.
Not a bad start. I'll take it. Look, you can widen that lead a little bit and make us feel a little bit safer, more confident, but I'll take a 3-point lead. As long as it's not, I think the game on Monday felt like it was over before it even started. I checked the score in the second quarter and the Sixers were down 20. So as long as they're up by 3, I will absolutely take that small lead.
We sure will. Brenda J. Lamore in our TikTok live stream chat says she needs another championship parade. Yes, a parade in my city. We need it. We need it.
Yes, we do. We really do. I've never gotten to experience a Sixers championship parade in Philadelphia. I don't think many people have. So, yeah, that's certainly needed.
And of course, the Phillies are also playing tonight too. I won't keep you for very long because I know you also want to watch the game and learn a little bit more about what's happening, so you'll be able to bring us back a fresher take the next time we see you. But real quick, the Phillies are also playing the Athletics. This is the second game in a 3-game series. Their game started at 6:40. We'll be touching base with them to see how they've been playing as well. But of course, we know a lot of eyes are on the Sixers game, so that's why we started off with that one. Devin, this is your first time with me on the stream, and I just wanted to say welcome. This has been great. Yeah, I love your energy.
This has been so fun, and nice to meet you through a TV. We're not in the same room right now, but
Nice
we are
to
in the same
meet you.
building, so happy to join you and glad to finally meet you.
Yes. All right, we'll be touching base with the sports team in just a little bit. Again, we're going to keep our eyes on the game. Hopefully we come out on top for both of them. Of course, the Athletics are up 1. As I can see, they're on the bottom third. So, Phillies score at any moment now. We would love that. All right, we're going to keep the ball rolling. When we come back, we've got a report on tornadoes. Specifically, I believe in the Chicago area. They've actually broken a record. We'll be touching base with Oliviana Calmi, is the reporter from Fox News, who's getting us the latest information on this record breaker when we come back. Welcome back to Philadelphia Live, you guys. I'm Judea Murray. Again, a lot of information, a lot of news that we want to bring to you right here on the stream. We're going to get into other topics soon, but I want to talk to you about the seasons right now, because I don't think it's just me. Does it feel like the seasons are hitting us a lot harder than they have in the past? Like, our winter here in Philadelphia was absolutely bananas, and a lot of other cities, a lot of other states, they're experiencing some pretty extreme spring weather. So right now in Illinois, they're leading the nation in confirmed tornadoes. This has been since the start of the year. It's very concerning for the people who live there, of course. Some experts say that part of the shifting trend actually comes with severe spring weather, but it's driving some more interest in storm shelters. This is something I don't know that much about, so I'm hoping that Oliviana Calmi, she's joining us from Fox News, can talk us through it. Oliviana, how active has this been for Illinois?
Yeah, Judea. Well, there have already been more than 100 tornadoes in Illinois this year, and that's about double what they normally get in an entire season, and that's just in the last few months. It's got more people wanting to get prepared, and one of those ways is by buying a storm shelter.
A lot of homes are not built as strong as they were built 35, 40 years ago.
This year, Illinois is leading the country in confirmed tornadoes. They've had 111 to be exact, according to the Fox Forecast Center. Mississippi ranks a distant second with 63, and Oklahoma ranks third with 42 tornadoes. During the latest outbreak in Illinois on April 17th, the state reported 48 tornadoes. With more spring storms hitting the Midwest, Safe Sheds Incorporated in Salem, Illinois, says more people are calling about their above-ground shelters.
We definitely see that when there is a severe weather outbreak, our business increases immediately.
The company delivers shelters to 30 states, including hurricane-prone areas. But lately, they're getting a lot of interest from people in Illinois, Missouri, Iowa, Indiana, and Kentucky, as this year Tornado Alley seems to be shifting from the traditional Southern Plains region, including Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas.
Those areas have really been coming on strong.
This is how one of the sheds looked after a direct hit. It withstood an EF4 tornado in Arkansas back in 2014.
This pickup truck right here was picked up and tossed into the front of the shelter and bent in half around the front of it.
All 7 people inside survived, although the same storm did kill 16 others. Safe Sheds says shelters now go through extensive FEMA-certified testing to make sure they're storm ready.
And the hardware and the doors and all of the surfaces have been tested at Texas Tech University in their wind debris laboratory.
She says more younger families are starting to buy shelters too, and to her, that's proof of just how seriously people are taking the threat of severe weather.
What we're doing is going to hopefully protect a family when they're at their absolute most scared point.
And tornado season isn't over just yet. In fact, we're now entering peak season for the southern plains. Judea.
So, Olivia, I got a couple of questions for you. One, I'm glad that you were able to provide us some of the video that we saw there. For example, the shelter that we saw, it said you said they had taken a direct hit, but really was just a little bit of damage to the roof, where we know we've seen homes literally ripped up out of the ground. I've seen plenty of underground shelters, underground bunkers. What is it about these above ground shelters that are, becoming so popular, and why is it so, how is it so safe,
Yeah, she said for a lot of decades, people assumed that the only way to be safe was to be underground in a traditional tornado cellar or shelter type of thing. But a lot of studies and tests have showed, she tells me, that these are just as safe. And you can see that with that EF4 tornado damage to that one shed where a truck was completely, wrapped around it. And you weren't able to see this, but I saw photos of that city where that tornado happened in Arkansas in 2014, and everything was flattened. And just that shed in that area was left standing, at least in that vicinity right there. So it's impressive. They've got a lot of concrete. They've got a special way of doing this, and FEMA has certifications that they have to pass. They said the certifications for making these kind of sheds have gone up, and cellars as well, have gone up quite a bit to make sure people will be safe. There's a lot of things to check off the box to make sure that all of those include.
I mean, let's talk about those boxes that they have to check. What kind of procedures, testing do these shelters go through so that they know, okay, this is going to be a good one, they're going to be safe in this one in particular?
One test that I found really interesting is one they do at Texas Tech, where their hardware undergoes testing in their wind debris laboratory. And one of those tests is a piece of 2x4 shooting at the shed at about 200 miles per hour, the door specifically, to make sure if a family's inside, it's not going to penetrate the door, whereas the rest of the shed is concrete. So that goes through rigorous testing for each batch that this company makes, and they make about 500 a year.
Wow. This has been a really interesting report because, again, I've heard of the underground. I've never seen something quite like this before. And they're pretty, if I can say this, pretty stylish too. Like if I just saw this in someone's backyard, I would think it was a regular run-of-the-mill shed. I wouldn't know that it is what it is. That might be part of the appeal.
Right. And there's even space for some of the keeping food in there, and she said that it's very quiet compared to some of the steel sheds that you might see, and animals seem to be pretty happy in those when it's quieter as well.
All right, got it. Oliviana, thank you so much for giving us this report, letting us know what's happening out there in Illinois too. It's good for us to know what's happening in other states, other cities. People may have plans, trips planned and whatnot, and this may affect how you decide to spend your free time. So again, I appreciate you bringing us this report and letting us know what's going on out there. You guys who are out there streaming with me right now, again, there's so much that we need to go over. When we come back, we're going to take a quick break. I'm going to look through to see if there's any breaking news that we need to bring you all, but of course we'll be able to keep you up to date with all that's happening right here, right now. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to Philadelphia Live. There's a big story that I want to get into. It's really bizarre, so bear with me. We hear that there's a Delaware County man who was sentenced to 18 months in prison. They say that he stole more than $200,000 from his job where he worked, the bank. So let's try to break down some of the details in this case. He's 42 years old. His name is Jonathan Lim. He's from Wallingford, Pennsylvania. He was sentenced this week to 18 months in prison, 5 years of supervised release, and $214,155 in restitution by the United States District Court. They say that he committed bank fraud and embezzlement. So he was the manager of a specific bank branch in Downingtown, Pennsylvania. They say he took over the responsibility of the regular administration of the branch's automated teller machine, which is, of course, as you and I know, an ATM. So they say that he had direct access to ATMs. He had a lot of work on the inside of them and the interiors. And so at some point in time, they believe from about August 2019 through November 2019, on multiple occasions, they believe that he went into those ATMs taking out money and then falsifying some reports in order to hide his crimes. Then eventually on November 24th, 2019, they say he suddenly resigned from the bank. And later that week, literally just 2 days later, the bank was audited. And that's when they found, hey, there's like over 200K missing from our systems. What's going on here? Is this odd that this guy just left? They decided, yeah, so they looked into it. Auditors discovered that the ATM again had a shortfall of about $200,000 and that the defendant's cash box, that it was short by about $36,000. So in all, they believe that he embezzled about $214,000 from the bank branch and spent the majority of it gambling. Not a great end to this story. The FBI got involved. He was arrested. He's been in court, and he has officially been sentenced to 18 months in prison. And of course, they're saying he does have to pay back a good chunk of that money. No bueno. All right, let's move on to the Iran war. What's going on there? It looks like in our first camera, we've got a tracker on the Strait of Hormuz, which is really interesting here. So as we know, there's been some back and forth. For a while, Iran was saying, ships could not pass through. Then eventually they were saying, okay, ships can pass through. Some of them. We'll guide them. We'll make sure of who's getting through. And we know this is a very important point for the world's oil and fuel supply. So for a long time, it was affecting the prices that we saw here in the United States. Actually still is to this day. We'll actually get into that a little later on and the prices that we're seeing today. But as you can see, I believe the red is showing us some of the ships in the area. We're also seeing green dots as well. I got to figure out a little bit more of what exactly it is that we're taking a look at here. But I can tell you that President Donald Trump decided that for a while, American ships were going to guide some other ships, countries through this waterway. They said it wasn't fair that Iran was able to shut it down or decide who can do what. Now, there's a post that he put out on his social media platform. You guys were taking a look at. It's one of those quick clips, so it'll go back around as we get into this topic. But it's interesting because we're hearing kind of mixed messaging from the different departments, from the president. Again, you're taking a look at that social media post. It says, based on the requests of Pakistan and other countries, the tremendous military success that we have had during the campaign against the country of Iran, and additionally the fact that great progress has been made toward a complete and final agreement with representatives of Iran, we have mutually agreed that while the blockade will remain in full force and effect, Project Freedom, the movement of ships through the Strait of Hormuz, will be paused for a short period of time to see whether or not the agreement can be finalized and signed. That is signed by President Donald J. Trump. Again, that was put out a little earlier. It looks like sometime late last evening. And so again, it's been kind of like an up and down of where we are at in this war. If you ask President Donald Trump, though, he says that we are very close to the end of it. Only time will tell if we really are. Now, earlier, he had a conversation with a couple of top officials at Chevron and ExxonMobil. Of course, those are big gas companies, big oil companies, to discuss Venezuela, which is kind of a turn in events. So let's take a listen to what he had to say in that.
Smart people, great people. They have a really strong military. We want it very quickly, and we have it's been a great thing for Venezuela. The people are really happy. They're dancing in the streets because they have a lot of money coming in through the big oil companies that are all moving in. I was with ExxonMobil last night. The chairman was here, and we're talking about Venezuela, along with a lot of them. Chevron, they were all here last night. They all want to go there and elsewhere. We just hit a new high in the stock market. The stock market's the highest it's ever been. And I expected that the market would be down 20-25%. I was willing to do that to get rid of a crazy country. Crazy. The people, look, you talk about regime change. Their first level leaders are dead. Their second level leaders are dead. Some of their third level leaders are dead. I call that regime change. But I thought we'd be down maybe 20%, and we're up. The stock market's higher now than when we started this war. And I thought oil prices would go to $200, $250. It's at $100 now. And I think you're surprised, and I'm surprised. But even if it went to 200, it would have been worth it. I understood that. We had just set a record, 50,000 on the Dow, 7,000 on the S&P, a record. And I said, I hate to do this, but we have to make an excursion down to Iran because we can't let them have a nuclear weapon. Look, and this is very simple. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon because as tough as they are, we want to keep them alive. We want to keep all of you alive. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon, and they won't. And they've agreed to that, among other things. Yeah.
Mr. President, you've had some recent back and forth with Pope Leo. I understand Secretary of State Marco Rubio is going to meet with the Pope tomorrow. What message do you hope he delivers to the Holy Father?
Well, I can tell you this, that as far as the Pope is concerned, and it's very simple. Whether I make him happy or I don't make him happy, Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. And he seemed to be saying that they can. And I say they cannot. Because if that happened, the entire world would be hostage, and we're not going to let that happen. That's my only message. Okay? So they're going to go out now, and they're going to have some great pictures taken, and we'll see you guys on June 14th. But I know, in your case, we're going to see a lot more. We'll see you probably tomorrow.
Of all the events on the South Lawn, why this event?
I think it's going to be the biggest event we've ever had at the White House. I mean, the White House doesn't really do athletic events for the most part. And these are all the greatest champions in the world. They're the greatest fighters in the world. You can tell by looking at them. These are the greatest fighters in the world. How do you think if you went into heavy training? Do you think you'd be okay? It'd be a little tough. Right? Have a good time, everybody. Thank you. Never a deadline. It'll happen. It'll happen, but never a deadline.
All right, so he actually talks about a lot there packed into a short period of time. I mentioned that he talked about the Iran war, he talked about gas, he talked about oil, he talked about Venezuela, and then you may have heard him mention June 14th, that date, very briefly. It said that he would probably see them again sometime around then. Want to let you all know that President Donald Trump is planning a huge event at the White House. First of all, it's his 80th birthday. But it's also going to be UFC Freedom 250. They say that they want to plan this on the White House South Lawn. It'll celebrate his birthday. It'll celebrate Flag Day, the upcoming 250th anniversary of American independence, which we're celebrating here in Philadelphia as well. But this big event is also supposed to feature a 4,500 seated arena for a 12-fighter card. Thousands of people are supposed to be watching from all around DC. The country will be watching as well. So again, this is supposed to be a big UFC fight as well. So he was kind of teasing it there for the media that was in the room. All right, you guys, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I want to look at some of the trending stories. I also want to pose my question of the night for you all. Won't tease it this time, so don't go anywhere. It's an interesting one. I want you to weigh in. All right, welcome to Philadelphia Live. Got a big question for you all tonight. Honestly, I really need the Sixers fans to step forward because this is all about you all. Jake, you already know what went down. You've been seeing it on social media.
Yes.
A lot of posts about Joel Embiid. He decided that he wasn't going to play tonight.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So you're always asking, what's Philly talking about? Number one. This is the number one thing that Philly is talking about tonight. So we want to know what you guys think. So we ran a poll.
Okay, so let's break it all down. He made the decision. He wants to sit out. He says that he's not feeling so good. The team says that he has hurt his ankle. They say he's hurt his hip. Not everybody though buys the story. But I want to know, like, what you think? Did he make the right choice for himself, deciding to, go forward with his health, or is this hurting us? Did we need him during this game? Should he have, as some people have said, sucked it up? So what are the people saying?
Yeah. So as you know, Philly sports fans, very serious. So I'm actually surprised right now. We ran a poll, fox29.com/go vote, always under the Fox Local tab. So we said, do we think Embiid made the right call sitting out tonight's game? So I'm surprised because right now it seems like it's pretty close. It's a tie right now, actually. So yes, no are both at 43%, and then 14% of the people are mixed and left a comment. So looking on some of her social pages, people are a little heated in the comments. One person said, I agree with Bobby. They'll win. That's all he said. Someone else said, if it has to do with his health, yes. But then again, I'm a Knicks fan. So we're gonna ignore that. We're gonna ignore that. And someone says yes, and he should have sat on Monday as well. And more people are saying, yes, shouldn't have played Monday. Game 7 was brutal on him. It was brutal to watch, too. So,
yeah. It was a pretty nasty game. But, I mean, if you're trying to push through it, which some people have told him to do, push through any ailments or whatever. If he was trying to push through it on Monday, why are we not backing him up on that?
Yes.
I mean, okay, we just got some more votes in as well.
Yes.
It looks like yes is now in the lead.
Yes.
And we encourage you guys to vote too. Where can they go so that they can be part of this poll, Jake?
Yeah, so the poll itself, fox29.com/go vote, always under the Fox Local tab. But if you want to leave a comment, get your voice heard, you can find it on Instagram, always on our Instagram stories. You can click on the link, or you can even swipe up and leave a comment right through the app, or we have it on Facebook, X, or you could even let your thoughts be known in the TikTok comments.
Which they actually are. So first of all, Brenda says, hey, Jake.
Hey, Brenda.
Also, Brenda says, if he's legitimately hurt, let Joel sit it out. She's agreeing that, he should be able to heal himself up just like everybody else and take the time that he needs. I want to hear you guys, continue to weigh in on what you all think. We're able to shout some of you all out, like we just did Brenda, and we just did some of those comments that we've gotten on other social media platforms, and maybe read it live right here on
definitely.
Philadelphia Live.
We want to know what you guys are talking about, so
100%.
please get involved.
And speaking of the game, I just want to peek back in. Okay, both teams actually scored since the last time I checked, but Sixers are still in the lead. It is 35-33. We're now in the second quarter. It really just started, so we'll see how we are by the time we get to halftime. But I'm feeling good about this, you guys. I really am. I'm feeling it in my bones. So hoping that we keep up with that. All right, when we come back, we got a lot of news to get through with you all today. One thing that's going to be real special, I'm hoping that around 8 o'clock it gets a little darker where you all will be able to see it. But there's a Light Up the Sky campaign. We'll be checking in with that and how it's going when we come back. Welcome back to Philadelphia Live, you guys. A lot going on tonight, a lot of live things. It may still be a little light outside, but I want to let you guys know that tonight the American Nurses Association is planning to light up the tri-state. So there are going to be a bunch of different areas all across. We're talking Philly, Camden, Hamilton, and Dover. Again, this is all because of National Nurses Week. So the American Nurses Association says they will be shining buildings in a red light to celebrate the power of nurses, again, for National Nurses Week. So it kicked off today. It'll keep going until the 12th. And we're hoping that soon, when it's dark enough, we'll be able to bring you out to some of those locations. You know, we've got some live cameras all over the city and all over the different states, so it should be fun. Also, a lot of you guys always ask me, what's going on with the Epstein investigation, the Epstein files? Talk about that. Why can't you talk about that? What more do you have? Well, today, there actually is a really big update that I want to talk to you all about. The House Oversight Committee has been probing into one of President Donald Trump administration's allies, I guess you could say. So there's a high profile figure that has been questioned for hours and hours and hours. We're talking about Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick. Now, he voluntarily appeared before the committee and spoke a little bit to what he knows about the disgraced Jeffrey Epstein and any ties that he may or may not have to him. Now, we know that Epstein, of course, died by suicide back in 2019 after being indicted on federal sex trafficking charges. After he spoke for hours and hours and hours, there were a couple of representatives who were in the room who came out and talked to the media. I want to let you guys listen in to one in particular, Representative James Comer. He's a Republican from Kentucky who spoke after the testimony. Let's listen in.
He was on the island with his family. With his wife and kids, 6 people in his family and 6 people in his friend's family for lunch for 2 hours. And he has admitted that. So the Democrats are going to go another hour. I'm sure they're going to try to filibuster and do whatever. They had a narrative to come in. They were hoping Lutnick wouldn't come in. They were hoping Pam Bondi wouldn't come in. Remember, Pam Bondi came in a month ago to answer questions. The Democrats didn't ask him a single question. The first 20 minutes of the Democrats' question in here, they complained about not having video and not having things to be able to put on MSNBC for their angry purple-haired viewers to be outraged over. This is a serious investigation. I've subpoenaed the estate. We've subpoenaed the Department of Justice. We've brought in one cabinet secretary, fixing to be 2 cabinet secretaries. We're bringing in some of the richest and most powerful people in the world. We're doing everything in our ability to get answers. And it's so frustrating when someone like Ro Khanna, who I can't believe when Ro Khanna comes in here, he's already gone on the floor and accused men of being criminals in the Epstein investigation who weren't even criminal, who weren't even involved. He had to go recant his story. And then Walkinshaw, my gosh, I mean, I know he's in a tough primary against a unique individual, and I guess you have to lie and pander to outrage people over to try to win a Democrat primary. I don't know, but the times that Ro Khanna, I'm not going to say Ro Khanna lied, the mistakes that Ro Khanna's made and come out here and delivered to you all, I can't keep up with. And the times that Walkinshaw has walked out here, who has just been here a few weeks, he's just been in Congress a few weeks, but he thinks he's the smartest person here, and the number of lies that he said. So I'm hoping that when you get the transcript, you will fact check these members. It's a disservice to you, it's a disservice to your readers, to your viewers, when the Democrats come out here and just lie. So we're going to come back in. We'll see if the Democrats ask any different questions than what we asked over the first hour. Again, there's only so many questions you can ask a man that had 3 interactions with Epstein over his entire life. So, does anybody have any questions? I'll go back. Yes.
Democrats had zeroed in their discussions out here with us about Lutnick's testimony regarding when he said, I would no longer see Jeffrey Epstein. They said that he meant him personally one-on-one and not in a group setting. Can you describe to us how you interpreted Secretary Lutnick's answer on those on that line of questioning, and if you were satisfied?
Which line now? Which line?
They said that the reason why, in 2005, he said that he would no longer, he would cut ties with Jeffrey Epstein, and then he met with him later on. Democrats have said that Lutnick essentially said that he didn't personally want to be one-on-one with him in a room, but was okay, suggested he was okay in a group setting.
Yeah. If I remember from recollection, we'll see with the transcripts, but I believe he was saying that when he met him, he just had bad vibes, but didn't know anything. It's hard to imagine some of the things, and by all accounts, whether it was the Clintons or President Trump or whomever that had interaction with Epstein, I don't think anybody knew about the crimes until he was prosecuted in Palm Beach in 2008, I believe. Yes.
Are you concerned? One of the things the Democrats said, but has come out, is that Secretary Lutnick has changed some of what he said, whether it's the timeline or whether it's going to the island. So do you feel like you got direct answers, or are you still concerned that he's changed the facts?
Right off the bat, he corrected his statement on the time that he came to the island, and he said, that if I remember correctly, and you can look back on the transcript, he said that somehow Epstein found out that his family and friends were going to be vacationing in the Caribbean or around the Virgin Islands, and he invited them to lunch, and they docked there for, he thinks, no more than 2 hours. It was his wife and 4 other family members, and then six others. So there were 12 in a group. They didn't go in the house or anything there.
Did he explain why that was okay? When, back in 2005, he seemed to suggest that he didn't want any further involvement with him. Did he explain that discrepancy in detail? And if so, what did he say?
I mean, I feel like that Lutnick's been very transparent. He came in voluntarily. I said before this thing started, the only thing that I had seen that Lutnick did wrong wasn't 100% truthful on the brief visit to the island with his family. He corrected that in his opening statement, and we'll see. We'll continue our investigation, and if we find that there were any misstatements by Lutnick, it's a felony to lie to Congress, and he'll be held accountable. It's too bad it's not a felony for a member of Congress to lie to the media, or we would have a lot of Democrats that would be having to lawyer up right now. So, yeah, Max?
The Democrats made a big point about this not being videotaped. Can you respond to why this is not a video?
We had Ted Wade in last week. It wasn't videotaped. They didn't say a thing about that. We had the Metro Police whistleblowers come in on that investigation that they said was phony, that we proven they lied about the crime statistics, which I think is happening in other cities in the United States, and we'll continue our investigation in other cities. They didn't say anything about that. We've had Minnesota fraud depositions with the whistleblowers in Minnesota. Those weren't videotaped. We're trying to get people in as quick as we can. You see the list continues to grow of people we bring in for interviews and depositions with respect to this investigation or any other investigation. Let me tell you, it's very hard to get people in. I don't think the average person realizes how many hours of phone time is involved with our staff communicating with their lawyers to try to get people to come in to do these interviews. I mean, everything has to be perfect. They may say a day that we have another transcribed interview, or maybe a day that they have a medical appointment or a child's wedding or things like that. So we're doing the best we can to bring people in. If they'll come in voluntarily, we try to work with them and do whatever we can. But the truth of the matter is, the Democrats want video so that they can mislead their base or whatever into trying to say something happened that didn't happen or whatever. The transcript, any Democrat that wants to be here can be here. I know that I've missed one deposition, I think, in the Epstein when I had oral surgery, and the Democrats trashed me on it. This is the second Epstein interview we've had in a row, and Garcia wasn't here. I know he was reading comic books, I think, during the Ted Wade video. I don't know where he is today. But again, that's another thing. The members don't have to be here. This is done by staff. We have professional staff. The Democrats have professional staff. The Republicans have professional staff. We have attorneys who are professional deposers. That's what they do. But at the end of the day, if you'll come in voluntarily, we'll work with you. We'll try to get this thing in and out. And the videos, to my knowledge, there was never any videos of depositions until the January 6th hearings. But yes.
The Democrats suggested that the reason Lutnick may have been changing his stories because they have talked to the administration prior to
Of course they said that. Of course they said that. It's always about Trump. It's never about the victims. It's never about justice for the survivors. It's never about holding people accountable that should have prosecuted Epstein years ago. It's always about Donald Trump. It's always about the midterm elections and trying to flip the House and trying to motivate their base. From my standpoint, from most of the Republicans on this committee standpoint, our purpose is to get the truth to the American people. We don't care if they're Republicans or Democrats. We don't care if they're rich or poor. We are going to bring them in. We're going to ask them questions. We're going to be transparent with you all. I'm not going to stand up here and lie and say somebody said something that they didn't, like Walkinshaw does time and time again. I hope I don't make mistakes like Ro Khanna does time and time again. So, one more question.
The Democrats have also been pushing for when Pam Bondi comes in to have that on video.
Why? They had her in. They just had her in. They had an opportunity to have Pam Bondi and Todd Blanche. They were going to be here all day. And they didn't ask a single question. They didn't ask a single question because they want a video. They want a video and they want that ACY or whatever that thing is so he can always misinform the low IQ viewers who follow him on Twitter as to what was said. And you read the transcript. That's why 99.9% of the depositions are done. And again, this isn't about the administration. This is about the victims, and hopefully, we'll have witnesses that'll be coming in over the next 6 witnesses that will have pertinent information. I think, this guy Lutnick had 3 interactions with Epstein over 10 years. He's been very forthcoming with those interactions, and again, we asked, I think, every question you all would ask. That first hour, the Democrats, after their outrage, they asked the exact same questions. I'm going to make a prediction, and you can look at the transcript. They're asking the exact same questions that we asked the first hour, and they asked the second hour.
So to be clear, you don't believe the secretary is lying. Are you ruling out then any videos for future depositions?
Well, it just depends on how hard it is for people to come in. It just depends. If the Clintons took 7 months to come in. And that's something that most. I don't think it's any secret whether nobody wants to be videoed. If you come in, you work with us, then you might not have to be videoed.
So you're not ruling it out.
I'm not ruling it out. It just depends on how easy it is to get these people in because we're on a timeline. The clock's ticking. We're dealing with some of the most powerful attorneys in the world. We're dealing with the O.J. Simpson legal team with a lot of these guys, and it's very difficult to get these people in. But I think we've had great success in that. I hope we continue to do that. It's just real frustrating when people like Walkinshaw, who's been here 2 months and is losing in the Democrat primary, has to come out here and lie to try to save his political butt. It's just very frustrating. But we'll continue to be transparent. As soon as the lawyers for both sides agree on the transcript, we will release this one. Hopefully we'll get the Waite transcript released in a few days. And I think we've got some more quality witnesses coming in the next few weeks that'll hopefully have more information that I think will be relevant to the investigation. Thank you all.
Punishment? How does it feel?
Wow. So, I mean, you guys heard it there yourselves. I saw you guys commenting in the TikTok comment section, going back and forth with each other, which is exactly what I want. We've got people with perspectives on all different sides coming to one place, talking to each other relatively respectfully. This again is exactly what we need. So I appreciate the dialogue that we're having right here in the chat. I'm hoping that I'll be able to bring you some more news just like that throughout this show. But I do want to let you know we're going to take a quick step back. When we come back, though, there's something big that I want to talk to you about that's happening in Central Florida Zoo. Again, it's very big to the people out there. Some of you may be interested as well. We'll touch base on what's happening with the sloths when we come back. All right, welcome back to Philadelphia Live. You guys, you ask, I listen, and we move forward. So you all wanted to know what's going on with the cruise ship, the hantavirus. Now you're hearing about something called the Andes virus. What's happening? We'll break it all down right here on Philadelphia Live. So as you may have heard by now, there was a cruise that was sitting for days off the coast of West Africa. They said that there was some sort of outbreak on that cruise ship that proved to be deadly. It was going around, spreading in between a couple of different passengers. We heard again that it was a deadly outbreak, that so far they have confirmed that 3 passengers have died, several other people sickened by this thing called the hantavirus, and they say more specifically it's a strain called the Andes virus. Keep that name in mind because that's going to be really important to this story. So the hantavirus, as I've been learning, is an illness that's usually passed along by breathing in the excrements of rodents. So mouse poop, or rat urine, saliva, that's what we're talking about here. Usually it can only be passed from an animal to a human, not human to human. But of course, there's this strain, this one strain of this particular virus called the Andes virus, and that is what the passengers on this particular cruise ship had. And they say that that virus, the Andes virus, that strain is contagious among people. But they do tell everyone, they want everyone to know that this is not at all like the coronavirus. So as you're seeing these articles, you're also seeing that there's not a mass panic like we saw with the pandemic. And that is why they say that there is a difference here. So yesterday, Spain finally agreed to let that ship come in, where they were going to send some medical professionals on the ship, make sure that they checked all the people out. Those passengers were able to get off of the ship, and most of them actually have started making their way home. Of course, some of those other passengers who were more sickly are continuing to be looked at. So there were nearly 150 people on board. They live just about everywhere. I heard that they were leaving for Argentina, I think on April 1st. By April 11th, that's when they realized they had their first sick passenger, and I think they actually had their first death. As the days went on, that's when things were getting worse. Nobody would let them dock at their area, their country, their city. Nobody wanted them at their ports. And so, like I said, for days they were just sitting out there in the water, just trying to see what, if anybody would eventually let them in. Of course, people needed to be treated. That did happen yesterday. So again, they say this is a rare rodent-borne illness that usually spreads when people inhale contaminated rodent feces, pee, poop, you know, what I was just telling you all about. But they do say that this particular strain that was on that cruise ship is passable between people. So that's the latest news that we have there on that. Again, I'm letting you all know that officially they're saying those passengers have been taken off the ship and some of them are starting to make their way home. So I'm sure you're going to continue hearing about this on the news, definitely on social media, and see also if you have friends or family who were on this ship. Some people have been very candid about their experience. Some people saying that they were very worried. They felt like no one was checking in on them. Other people saying that there was a lot of social distancing on the ship and that it kind of did feel like when we had COVID-19 and all the other different strains going around, where they just couldn't be around people for extended periods of time, or had to be, like, you know, further away from them. So it's been mixed experiences that we're seeing. I would love to get to interview someone who experienced what was going on there right here on this show. If you know someone, let me know. What do you guys think in the comment section, though? I'm seeing the lady who was on the plane died. I did mention that 3 passengers at this point have died. Let's see what other questions we have. The government always knows. Okay, so we have some conspiracy theorists. Someone says this is going to be an interesting summer. For sure. Someone said they let them leave the boat. Yes, they did. Someone said let's have another lockdown. Let's not, unless it's needed. Okay, someone said what are the symptoms of the virus? That is a great question that I actually didn't know the answer to just yet. Okay, so it looks like it starts out with flu-like symptoms. So you might not know that you have something serious. It may seem like you've got a regular run-of-the-mill cold, and then all of a sudden it gets a little worse, and you may think that you just have the flu. It says that it can rapidly progress, though, and that's when it becomes life-threatening. So it starts out with a fever, you'll feel chills, muscle aches, and maybe a headache. That is what people are saying. And then they say as it progresses, you may start to experience tightness in your chest. Your lungs at that point may be filling up with fluid. But they also say that there are other syndromes that are caused by hantavirus, so that's something to look out for too. Let's see. We've got a certain type of fever with renal syndrome that can cause bleeding, high fever, kidney failure. They say this particular syndrome usually develops within a week or 2 after exposure. So again, I told you though that those people had started out on that ship April 1st. So we're now in May. Most people, I would say, by at this point would probably know or have been feeling some sort of symptoms. So to know that we're only talking about several people being infected, that's not bad for a 150 person ship. Now, of course, we're also talking about crew members and whatnot. Look, this is just going to be an interesting headline. We're just going to have to see how this progresses. It is very fishy. I understand how you guys all feel, but that's the information that I have at this point in time. All right, so we'll move on, but I am going to continue taking your questions because when we come back from this break, maybe I can have more answers provided for you guys and ready for you all. But let's move on to Florida real quick because I hear that they're having an interesting time at one of their zoos. So on Wednesday, we heard from some sloth experts, from some zoo officials. Let's break this all down, where they're saying that 13 sloths were let into this one particular zoo. And I say let in, but really they rescued those 13 sloths. They said that they were living a worse life ahead. And I'm going to let the officials talk to you a little bit about what they were actually experiencing before they were rescued and put into this zoo that I'm talking about. But they're also hearing that those sloths were in horrible condition and that they're actually seeing one of those sloths, his name was Bandit, has already died. So They had a press conference a little earlier on. I'm going to let you listen into just what a couple of those officials had to say about this experience. They say that 2 other sloths also fell extremely ill, and actually they died as well. So we know about Bandit, we know about Habanero, and we know about Dumpling. So that's 3 now of the 13 sloths. Those 10 other remaining sloths, they're hoping that they can survive, but they don't have any indication whether or not that is 100% just yet. Again, we'll let you listen in to what those officials had to say. This is a sad story, a very developing story, and a lot of people there in Florida have been keeping their eyes on it. Let's listen in.
I'm Richard Glover. I'm the CEO here at the Central Florida Zoo and Botanical Gardens. Thank you all for being here this afternoon. As you know, the zoo accepted a donation of 13 sloths from the owners of Sloth World on last Friday, April 24th. On behalf of the Central Florida Zoo and Botanical Gardens, I'd like to thank Representative Frost and Representative Escamani and their teams for coming today to talk to us about the work we're doing to save these sloths. I'd also like to thank Dr. Rebecca Cliff of the Sloth Conservation Foundation and Sam Troll of the Sloth Institute Costa Rica for being here today. We were very surprised when we got the call that Sloth World wanted to donate animals to us, and also by the number of animals they wanted to donate. As soon as we determined we had enough appropriate space in our quarantine area that we could prepare to meet the needs of these sloths, we said yes. The entire team was in agreement that we should accept these sloths, even though we didn't have any idea of what kind of condition they might be in, because we knew if they came here, they would get the care they needed to have a fighting chance to survive. We're a conservation organization, and saving species and caring for animals is the heart of this team and the core of what we do. The sloths all arrived here underweight, dehydrated, and lethargic. Some of them were more critical than others, but they were all in poor health. It was clear from the initial assessments of that first day that this was going to be a long road and that there was no guarantee that any of these sloths would recover and survive. You've all been covering this story since the day they came in, so there's no reason to rehash a lot of what you've already covered. But I do want to say it's heartbreaking for our team to see the animals that have been through so much. They deserve better. I appreciate Representative Frost and Representative Escamani because they see that some fundamental changes need to be made to prevent something like this from happening again. As you all now know, it's legal to own a sloth in Florida if you obtain a Class 3 permit from FWC. As an AZA accredited zoo, our team has an obligation to stay on top of the science and best practices of caring for every species in our care. That is no easy task, and it's unrealistic to believe that a veterinarian or lay people who are not experienced and trained with exotic animals can be prepared to properly manage the health of an animal like a sloth. It should not be legal for them to be privately owned, and we hope to see that change. There are also some primates, alligators, and an incredibly dangerous and large bird called the cassowary that are legal to own in Florida, which is baffling both from the public safety standpoint and the standpoint of animals ending up with people who don't know how to care for them properly, which will ultimately negatively impact their lives. Another piece of this that should not be forgotten is how huge the illegal pet trade is all around the world. Thousands of animals come illegally through each of our ports every year to be sold in the illegal pet trade. If owning exotic pets privately was illegal, it would dramatically reduce the market for some of these animals, and it would further limit the number of animals that were ripped from their homes in the wild for no legitimate purpose. Finally, I'd like to say on behalf of my team that even though this is hard, this is exhausting, it's sad at times, we're very grateful for the opportunity we've been given to try to save these sloths and set them on a path where they might have healthy, happy lives after this. We're also very grateful for all the support we're receiving from the community, from all over the globe, people that care about these sloth survivals, they care about the efforts that our team is making to save them, and it's so important, the conservation work that quality accredited zoos and aquariums do across the globe, and we appreciate how much people care about that. Now I'd like to introduce Dr. Rebecca Cliff, the founder of the Sloth Foundation. All
right, we're going to take it over from him. Again, that is an ongoing issue with that Florida zoo. I just wanted to make sure we were staying up to date on it because, again, that is very important to some of the people who live out there, and I know some of you guys stream from all around the United States. I took some questions that you guys asked about that cruise ship, and I wanted to answer them before we go to break real quick. Someone said, where are they docking? They have been making their way to Canary Islands. So again, this is as we're learning more information about this particular cruise ship where the hantavirus was on board. Multiple people have reportedly died. Multiple people were ill. And we have now since learned that they have a specific strain called the Andes virus, which is passable among person to person. And I wanted to let you know that some people on board, there were 150 passengers total. They say some people on board have already made their way back to the United States. 3 states are monitoring residents who were aboard that ship. Those 3 states, Georgia, California, and Arizona. So right now, we're not talking about Pennsylvania, we're not talking about New Jersey, and we're not talking about Delaware. Again, those 3 states right now that we for sure know that they are monitoring people who say they were on that ship: Georgia, California, and Arizona. If you guys have more questions, please put them in the chat. We'll get to them when we come back. Hey guys, welcome back to Philadelphia Live. I'm Judea Murray. It is officially halftime at the Sixers game, and we still are on top. Not by much, but hey, a point is a point. So we're talking 62-61. I want to bring in Marcus Beasley from the sports team now. Marcus, we have been keeping our eyes on all things Sixers. Of course, the Phillies are playing tonight too. But let's start with that 76ers game. What have you been seeing as you've been paying attention to it?
Well, it's interesting because the Celtics series was kind of similar, where it's like a tale of 2 games, where the Sixers, they've been shooting better. The Knicks, their shooting has actually been worse compared to game 1. The Knicks are currently 3 for 12 behind the arc. So the Sixers have actually been more, I would say they've been more strategic with their shots. They have a better shooting percentage than the Knicks, so that's been a huge factor. Also, the Knicks have been very undisciplined in this game. I mean, they've had 14 team fouls. So obviously that adds up for the Sixers to resulting in free throws. This is where Joel Embiid would have shined because he's great behind the free throw line. But that's like the two biggest things I've noticed is that the shooting has been completely different compared to game one, where the Knicks can't really buy a bucket, especially from beyond the arc, whereas the Sixers are actually shooting pretty well. And then the discipline on the Knicks side has just completely shifted to where the Sixers have taken full advantage in this one.
I mean, Marcus, let's talk about that attitude shift. And you did mention Joel Embiid would have been coming into play in certain aspects there. We do know that he decided that he wasn't going to play tonight. They're saying that he has the injury to his ankle, to his hip. And I remember on Monday, I think it was Breland Moore got to ask him what had happened during the first Knicks game. It kind of looked like he got hit there in that vulnerable spot. We know he just had that surgery on his appendix. Actually, Marcus, before you answer my question, though, let's let the people hear that interview. It's a real quick answer.
I got heat on it. I don't know if it was, obviously based on what's been going on. I guess I got to protect him more, so I don't know if it was dirty or not. So I guess I got to do a better job of protecting my, especially that part.
Okay, so now the question that I'm trying to form for you is twofold. One, I just want to let you know, I've been asking my audience all night long, do they think that he made the right decision for himself, for his health? Do they think he should have pushed through to play? So first, let me pose that one to you. Do you agree with his decision?
Well, I want to make it clear. Nick Nurse confirmed it before the game. It was actually the doctors that determined that he was not clear for this game. So Joel did want to play. They did ask Nick Nurse earlier before the game if Joel was he fighting to stay and whatnot. Nick Nurse made it very clear it was the doctor's decision, and when the doctors say that a player is not clear, the coaches will go with what the doctors say. So I just wanted to clarify that the doctors were the one to rule Joel Embiid was not cleared to play. That's the first thing I would say.
Okay, well, actually, that kind of changes my perspective here and how I want to pose this question to you then. What I really wanted to get at was, do you think that has any impact on the attitude shift where we're seeing the Knicks maybe came out all haughty and now it's kind of a close game where they see that the Sixers can keep up with them? Do you think what took place here as fans have been weighing in, maybe Joel's team seeing that they need to step up in his absence, do you think that has any impact on what we're seeing?
Yes and no. I mean, when you're playing against the Sixers with how unpredictable Joel Embiid's health is, you got to always be prepared for the option of him not being cleared to play. So I don't think there was a huge adjustment because also Joel being ruled out was determined this morning compared to a game time decision, which could have been a factor. So the Knicks had time to prepare for this game without Joel Embiid. Now, in terms of the attitude, I mean, it's the playoffs. The Sixers have won playoff games without him. They've lost playoff games without him. So you never know what kind of Sixers team you're going to face when they don't have Joel Embiid. So I think the Knicks were prepared, and I think they had the attitude of, like the Sixers did, of it was just one game. They're only up one game in the series. The Celtics went up and won the first game, the last one. So this Sixers team is not exactly one to count out. So I don't want to say that the attitude was more of like a we got this. I think it was just more of a, okay, Joel isn't here, so we got to be prepared for Andre Drummond or Adem Bona or anyone else that the Sixers throw their way. And I mean, the Sixers, they've only played 7 players today compared to the 11 that the Knicks have played. So in terms of depth, the Sixers still have a lot more in their arsenal, especially on the bench, to where they could still make this very interesting. But yeah, in terms of the attitude, I don't think there was too much of a change when the news came out this morning that Joel Embiid was going to be out.
Okay, fair take. Back to the score again. We are still in halftime, so it'll be interesting to see how the second half of this game goes. Real quick, I want to let you know the Phillies are down 1 run. Of course, we're playing the A's tonight. We're in the end of the 7th inning, so they will be switching over again. The A's have 3. But tomorrow, that's another big game all of the fans are waiting for, the Flyers. They're going to be playing the Carolina Hurricanes. So talk to me about Game 3. What are we cooking with?
Well, it's gonna be amazing atmosphere, just like it's been during the Penguins series. The fans were definitely gonna show out. It probably could be a full orange game for all we know. It's gonna be so much fun. Unfortunately, some sad news. Noah Cates for the Flyers is out for the rest of the series with a lower body injury, and Owen Tippett is day-to-day, so there's a chance that he may miss some time. Now, Tippett missed the first couple games already this series, so I'm not sure if he will be ready to go tomorrow. He usually has been okay, but they've been more precautious in terms of his health during this series. So that's the negative. But again, the positive is it's still, I mean, they win tomorrow and then they win Saturday, and it's a brand new series. So you just gotta, the fans just gotta show up. They just gotta play with plenty of energy. This team has been very good in terms of making adjustments after the first couple games. When it came to the Penguins series, at first there was no energy, and then as the game slowly, the series slowly built up, there was more energy, there was more hunger within the guys, and I'm starting to see that with the Hurricane series. I mean, it was a short turnaround for Game 1. They know it, the fans know it, the Hurricanes know it, we know it. So that I can kind of give a pass to for Game 1, but Game 2, there was so much more energy, so much more excitement, there was so much more hunger. Obviously, it went to overtime. Yes, they did blow a lead early on. Yes, they weren't able to hold it in the third, but they still did a lot of things right. So I think Game 3 is going to see even more corrections, even more adjustments, and it would not surprise me if by the end of tomorrow night, we're looking at a 2-1 advantage compared to a 3-0 series.
Okay, I will hold you to that. We're going to keep our eyes out for them too, and I want to remind you all in our audience, in case maybe you missed it a little earlier on, we do have that live streaming show 12 to 2. If you missed it, the Flyers coach did hold a press conference where he was able to talk a little bit about the strategy ahead of tomorrow night's game. Let's go ahead and take a listen to it. Thanks, Marcus.
Back to center again. We try, to get him going, and obviously Coots is playing really well, and you got Devo. So, we're good there. We'll be okay.
Or Jetlichenko was brought up
Yeah.
after his series ended. Is there any thought? He's played a couple of NHL games. Is there any thought of maybe working him in because he brings that speed element?
I mean, if there's some injuries, yeah. I mean, like, listen, if you're going to go in the playoffs deep, you can go to your 25th, 26th, 27th roster, and it doesn't mean you're a young guy that you can't play. We have another young guy, he looks fast out there. There's some other elements of the game he's going to improve this summer. But, yeah, I mean, there could be a possibility. I mean, I don't know at this point. Yeah.
Rick, with regards to Noah, the impact on Matvei Michkov, because they had built chemistry in the sense where Noah seemed to have to do a good job of kind of making up for maybe mistakes that Matvei made. With Noah out, how do you plan to kind of work through that issue without him?
Well, there's going to be a lot of youth on some different lines. Going to have to manipulate. How we're going to do with those lines. Obviously, Stankoven lines has been a pain in Ottawa and our side. So we have to neutralize that line. They're other than that, we've been pretty good at the other lines. So going to have to put a couple lines where we can neutralize. But Mate, Bumper, Porter, those type of guys. They're going to try to get them out some situations where they don't. They could be a little bit freer. And try to get some offense for us.
Kind of similar line with the penalty kill. Noah ate a lot of minutes there, and Owen I know played minutes there, but he's going to be questionable, I'm sure, for Game 3.
Yeah.
Who can you sort of rely on to kind of take those penalty kill minutes?
Yeah, it's a good question. Grundstrom's going to have to step up a little bit, and take some minutes there. Hath will get a little bit more. Problem is, you're losing that center. We'd always send Devo out there. So, yeah, these are bumps in the road we're going to have to deal with, but there's opportunity for guys.
Rick, just a really quick start in the early goals in Game 2 was very encouraging to see. What is it going to take to close out Game 3 now that it's coming home? And with you guys having a good idea of this Carolina team?
Well, just the mentality. I think, to help some guys out that are struggling, against Carolina, they got to be shot first mentality, and you got to be able to make a play around them. If we can do those two things, we'll get opportunities. I think some guys are overpassing, and that's the one thing Carolina is good at. They make you overpass, but if you throw pucks at the net, beat their aggressiveness, you're going to get chances. You're going to get wide open people in front. We've had a breakaway almost every game, or maybe two breakaways a game. So at the end of the day, you got to convert. You know, we got to convert. So we had more chances last game than the first game, but we just need guys to have more shot mentality. You know, funneling pucks to the net, and then obviously, you know, scoring on your grade A's, like grade plus A's. You got to score. I mean, that's something that, you know, not to put pressure on guys, but you know, you got to make some hay.
Just in general terms, you've had York and Drysdale together for a little while now.
Yeah.
What in your head? What makes that pair work, and how much does their pre-existing relationship help what they're trying to do out there?
Yeah, I think early, you know, they figured out a few things because, you know, they're not the biggest D, but if you look at the way especially Drysdale, I mean, obviously Yorkie too, but Drysdale's really defended really well with his feet and his brain. You know, there's a lot of good D that are mobile. They don't come in and, you know, Faber, these type of guys that they don't go flying in there and hammer guys, but they know how to get into people's body, take the puck away from them, or use their mobility to keep a puck. So that's where Jamie's really excelled, and I think Yorkie too. Together, they've been kind of defending with their brain and their puck possession or breakouts. So I give them a lot of credit. They've gotten better as the years gone on.
As far as guys who need to give more, where do you see Tyson Forrester's game at right now? You look on the back of the hockey card, he doesn't have any points, but where is he helping the team? What is he doing right now?
Well, the one thing is, like, you know, he's not costing us stuff, you know, when he's on the ice. I know he's not getting the goals. Like, you know, I'm a big believer, if you're not scoring goals, you cannot be a liability. That's it. And he's not a liability in that end. So at least he's doing that right. The goals will come. He's just too good of a player. He's been out for a long time, and this is playoff pace. And, you know, there's situations, you know, you got to play those in your reps in your mind, but also you got to live it. And I thought he was better last game. And I'm not really worried about him offensively, but he has really done a good job of not being a liability defensively for us.
Talk to him to make sure, you know, scorers can be streaky. That he understands he's still doing those right things, even if he's not producing on the score sheet. Or is he mature enough to understand?
Yeah, it's my give him 100%. Even Trevor, I know TK's, you know, upset he's not scoring. You got to give him confidence in the sense that they got to do the other things. And you know what? Sometimes you're gonna have to win a game 3-2, and you might that night you're not scoring. You can't be like I said, you can't be on the wrong side of the puck if you're not scoring.
Going back to the Noah Cates injury and
Yeah.
specifically how it impacts Denver Barkey.
Yeah.
You moved him to center
Yeah.
midway through game one, but it seemed a little bit more in that situation like, hey, let's see if this works. You
Right.
know, hey, is it more pressure on him now, knowing that, you know, because you guys have less center depth, that now it's not
Yeah.
hey, let's see. Now it's well, we need you playing in the middle.
Yeah, I don't think he's a guy that's flat. He's a pretty smart kid when it comes to that. I mean, I'm watching video. I know it's a short sample size. He like 3 times he's available right in the pocket. Like, we've had a tough time hitting that pocket. I think they hit him like twice last game. He's a pretty smart kid. I don't know. I don't know if the pressure, but you know, I've used him there twice now in some hostile environment, so I think that should give him confidence. And you know, like today, he was smiling, having like I think he's welcome in this situation. You know, this situation to play center for us. Yeah, we're going to need him, and he's going to get some ice time now that Casey's out.
With the power play struggles, has there been any thought of moving Alex Bump to a power play unit?
Yeah, I mean, I talked to the power guys, power play guys, where to put him. I know with the sticks, but against this team, yeah. Because it's unconventional PK. They fly everywhere. And we actually had some good looks, but we're not getting we had 3 times we're in front of the net with a puck. If we make the right pass, it's an empty net, but it's hitting a stick. I know it's, and I agree. I mean, the power play isn't good in that sense, but we got to be able to make plays under pressure, and maybe Alex is a guy that could do it for us, yeah.
Is it because of the aggressiveness of their penalty kill? They seem like even Trevor, when he made the pass to Tyson to try and get, you know, that led to Jamie's goal, like there was 2 guys on Trevor as he got into the zone.
Yeah.
Do you feel like it's hard to break the pressure from
Well,
him?
but
The aggressiveness.
he beat it and we scored a goal. It's no different than we played him, I think it was the last game of the year. Martone right away hits Trevor backdoor, huge goal. you know, I keep telling the power play guys, and there's a lot of pressure. I mean, I can feel it, but it's like chess. Before you get the puck, you got to know what you're doing, whether it's moving it with your feet or moving it with the puck. And I think we struggle all year. We've struggled with that, and that's something that we got to, you know, it's got to fix in the summer. And obviously, personnel is going to help us this summer too. But it's got to be a chess mentality. You got to know what you're going to do with the puck before, because that's what they are. They're going to come at you. They don't care, and we got to be able to make a play around them or through them, and that's really what it is.
Denver placed him center in junior in London, but I'm sure everyone thought he'd be a winger coming up
Yeah.
here. I was curious, when did you find out? Did management maybe go up to you and say, "Hey, we could try him at center"? How did that kind of materialize?
Well, I honestly, I'll be straightforward. A couple weeks ago, we were struggling a little bit, like at center, like, you know, what about the center position? Jonesy came up. Hey, don't be afraid to use Marks. So I got to give Jonesy, because I think Jonesy's scouted him and talked to him quite a bit. So one day I said, I'm going to use him there, and I actually liked him. Like, he hasn't been a defensive liability as a center. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I'm looking at video. It's not like he's hemmed in. So we'll keep on. We'll see where this goes. I don't know. Maybe he will be a centerman. I don't know. I just know that he's got a high hockey IQ.
Two more. You guys have been, and you've been open about it, at least as open as you can be, that you guys have been banged up for a while,
Yeah.
you know, as a team. But now that guys, you have Owen Tippett, these guys are actually not being able to play, how do you keep the team as a whole from, you know, falling into a little bit of like, oh God,
Right.
you know, how are we going to handle this kind of feeling?
Well, it's important the coaching staff giving them a plan. I think last game, you know, everyone was dejected after the first game. We didn't have our energy level, but we had a good plan going into game two. And I think this year, when you give them a plan and you're excited about giving them a plan, they seem to rise to it. They love it, right? So I think it's on us as coaches to give them a plan. We give them another plan today. I mean, we're not reinventing the wheel, don't get me wrong, but you want to give the bumps and Martel's the excitement that they're playing in these opportunities, these type of games. Obviously, the fans are going to be crazy for us, and we need the game. I guess, you know, every coach says it is, you know, you can't use excuses. I know we got some key guys, you know, we got some guys hurt, I get it, but there's opportunity for whoever to take those positions. So I think you just stay on that route. You know, you don't even talk about the negative. You just say, hey, there's an opportunity. You know, like you know, everybody's going to get a little bit more ice time and more opportunity. So, you know, seize the moment type of thing.
What's your message to coach? What's your message for the guys like getting second and third opportunities in front of the net or whatever? What's your plan? What's your message to the guys? How to straighten that out?
Like, you mean like in front?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
We're talking about hockey IQ, getting the puck in the middle, you know, shooting the puck from the center of the ice.
You know, the biggest thing for me, when you don't score, you lose confidence, right? And what do? When you lose confidence, you start passing the puck more than you usually do. You defer. And I saw that in overtime. We had 3 chances to really shoot the puck. We tried at the back door. You just got to have the confidence to just keep putting the pucks on net. I'm not saying you can't make a play. It just seems like we're overpassing in certain situations. I find that when guys are not shooting the puck well, what do? They carry the puck in too close to the goalie instead of like, and then so you're almost trying to pass it or shoot it in the net within 3 feet. Like sometimes it's okay to take that 15-foot location shot. Somebody gets a rebound, like their goal in overtime. You know, it was a scramble. They, you know, it's no different than some of our greasy goals. You know, you got to think that way. And then if you get a 2-on-1 or breakaway, you know, that's when you got to kind of relax and trust your instincts. You know, if Anderson's coming all the way out on you, you might want to fake some kind of deception and maybe go around him and deke him. If he's in his net, then you shoot it. I think you keep it almost simple like that.
All right, so we're hoping that this means tomorrow we got it in the bag. It sounds like got a good plan. They have looked over what's worked, what hasn't worked in the past games, and they're excited going into this one ahead. Once again, I just want to remind you all that we're talking about the Flyers. Tomorrow night they will be playing the Carolina Hurricanes. This is game 3. They're in the second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs, and they're playing in Philly, so we need to be full out, decked out in our orange in support. All right, you guys, we're going to keep the ball rolling. When we come back, I want to talk to you all again about stories that you are most interested in. What's Philly talking about? We'll check in with Jake Leonard when we come back. All right, welcome back to Philadelphia Live, you guys. I wanted to know, what are you guys talking about in a segment called What's Philly Talking About? So I brought Jake Leonard up to the desk.
Thank you.
Jake, what are the people clicking on? What are they watching?
So I picked out 2 stories that are doing very well on our site right now. Number 1, Nancy Guthrie. So you remember the whole story. Savannah Guthrie's mom went missing, and we haven't had a lot of updates.
Yeah, we still don't know where she is,
No,
right? Okay.
no. But we have some words that were said by FBI Director Kash Patel.
What? Say?
Yes. Basically, he was criticizing the way that the Pima County's department was handling it. So he claims that the agency was blocked the FBI was blocked by Pima County for the first 4 days. So for the first 4 days, Pima County kind of was keeping their cards to themselves and not really letting the FBI get involved.
And they say the first 48 hours are the most important.
Yes. So the sheriff of Pima County denied these claims, said that the FBI was notified and his department and the Guthrie family were coordinating. So he is saying that they did nothing wrong, but Patel is arguing that there was this 4-day delay, and like you said, the first hours are super important. So he was saying basically because they weren't involved in the first couple days, things were delayed. So you remember eventually the security camera footage came out, that doorbell video.
Yes, I remember that.
Yes. So basically Patel is saying if they had been involved sooner, we could have gotten that video sooner. You know, it could have basically, it just could have been fast tracked a little bit. So, and he also, if you remember, the sheriff's department sent the DNA to the private lab in Florida versus the FBI lab in Quantico. So he's kind of like, why'd they do that? You know, it would have been faster in Quantico. So interesting that this is being brought up like now.
Yeah.
So.
And, you know, not for nothing, the Pima County Sheriff's Office has actually been getting a lot of flack lately.
Yes.
I would say actually probably the last month and some change, where I know there's been an investigation into how they did things, but now hearing that the FBI is also looking into it, it's not looking too good for them. But it does sound like they're trying to, you know, hold their own and speak up for themselves, defend themselves in their everything that they've had to do with this case. And I know a lot of people are still wondering, where is Nancy Guthrie? Are we ever going to get an answer to that question? I think the kids at this point in time, I mean, definitely emotionally still invested, but also just trying to figure out, how do I continue with my life with this new normal? So it's been interesting for everyone.
Yes, it has. So then another story on our website is about Apple.
Okay.
Yes. So Apple has reached a $250 million settlement in a class action lawsuit regarding claims of false advertising with the Siri AI feature. So basically, let me break it down.
Okay.
So basically, the lawsuit claimed that Apple misled consumers by marketing some AI and Siri features that were not actually available when the iPhone 16 was launched. So you know the way that Apple does like the software updates, you know. So they were talking kind of about like a software update, but made it seem like it was going to be ready as soon as the iPhone 16 dropped, which was not the case. So basically, the argument was that if people knew that these features weren't going to be available, then they wouldn't have bought the phone so soon. Some people are like, we would have waited, which is fair. So basically, they reached a conclusion, and now owners are eligible for money.
How much money are we talking
about?
So
basically between $25 and $95 per device. Yes.
Okay. I mean, every dollar counts.
Yes. So eligible, there's anyone who bought phones between June 10th, 2024 and March 29th, 2025. So that's the timeline. So it's all iPhone 16 models and some 15 Pro and 15 Pro Maxes. So basically, if you're eligible, you'll be contacted through email and kind of get the instructions, and then you can go to the website and file.
That is so interesting. Apple's not the only one that's got a settlement. Blue Cross Blue Shield also has one that we'll be talking about a little later on. So it's really interesting to hear these different companies that are having to dish out a little bit of money. I don't know if you guys are interested. If you have one of those phones, I mean, let us know.
Yeah.
But it looks like a little bit of money could be coming your way if you decide to go through. So
Definitely.
what do they need to do in order to get
So
that money?
They will be contacted. So if you're eligible, you will get an email
You
with
don't have to do
instructions.
anything.
No, you'll get an email with the instructions. You might even get something in the mail, and then from there, you can choose to either go down this process or just be like, I'm not doing it. So
okay, well, hey,
yeah,
that's 25 to
So be on the
95
lookout.
more dollars than you had before.
Definitely.
Jake, thank you so much for bringing
Thank
us a
you
look
so
at what
much.
everybody's talking about. And you guys don't go anywhere. Yesterday we brought you an amazing mom. Tonight we've got another one. It's Mother's Day coming up this weekend, and I want to show you some moms who have been doing the dang thing. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to Philadelphia Live, you guys. We were just telling you about that settlement with Apple. If you had one of those phones, what was it, the 15 and the 16 model, and you thought that you were going to get that special Siri AI piece to it, you found out that that wasn't the case, and maybe you're a little upset about buying the phone quicker than you would have if you didn't have that, if you knew you weren't going to have that little piece to it. So that's what's going on with Apple. But I mentioned that Blue Cross Blue Shield actually also has entered into a settlement. Theirs is $2.67 billion. And it's possible that you may be eligible, but I want to tell you right now before you get too excited, I'm going to let the cat out the bag, it is past time for you to put in for it. So it's not like the Apple one where they're going to reach out to you. No, this would have been one where you would have had to contact them. But so far, about 6 million claims have been put in, submitted all across the U.S. That will be used to determine how the funds are allocated, so that $2.67 billion will be broken down potentially by that 6 million. Of course, those different claims will have to be looked into before they decide whether or not they are valid. Now, Blue Cross Blue Shield had been in a 5-year wait with the court system, trying to decide if they had that final court approval. They have gotten it. Again, there has been a long-running lawsuit that accused Blue Cross Blue Shield, of course, that's the insurance company, a lot of you may use it, It accused the Blue Cross Blue Shield company and its affiliated insurers of violating antitrust laws by limiting competition in the health insurance market. So there were some plaintiffs there that argued that Blue Cross Blue Shield was structured to reduce overlap among its regional plans. And so there are quite a few people who were eligible for it. Those customers needed to have filed a claim by November 5th of 2021. So if you did do that, you may have been part of the 6 million. If you haven't done that by 2021, by 2026, don't expect a little piece of that money. But those settlement payments, the reason why we're talking about it right now is because they've actually already started being issued to some of the people involved. It started this month, May 2026. So it's possible that maybe you're getting some money your way if you did remember to do that back in 2021. Claim notices would have already been emailed to customers though, so hopefully you would have gotten spoken to by now. All right, I mentioned Mother's Day is this weekend. It's going to be a really exciting time to show mom how much you love and care for her. And we here at Fox 29 Philadelphia actually have a contest where we were looking for the most amazing moms. A lot of you guys submitted, and we've been able to check in with some of those amazing moms. Dawn Timoney is joining us now live. You were out yesterday meeting with some people. You've been out again today, so I assume you're in a good mood. Who did you meet today, and what's your story?
Well, we traveled to Middletown, Delaware. A really sweet husband nominated his wife. They've been married about 4 years, and they have a 2.5-year-old son who is absolutely adorable, and she's 7 months pregnant with their daughter. And so he emailed us about his wife, and it was just gushing, talking about how caring and compassionate and hardworking. She balances a job as a nurse practitioner with running the house. He's a police officer in Upland, so he is not home as much as he wants, and he says she's really just the rock that holds it all together. But she had no idea we were coming. She thought they were going out for dinner. So I will give him that, Judea, because she was dressed up. She had her makeup on. We didn't show up with our cameras, and she wasn't like, oh my God, she looked beautiful. But here's the surprise and what they both had to say afterwards. Surprise! You are the winner of the Fox 29 Amazing Moms Contest. Oh are you surprised?
I'm very surprised.
So your husband, Eric, emailed us. He was one of many, many, many emails, and we picked you.
Oh, that's fabulous. Thank you.
What does it mean to you?
Honestly, it's kind of turned into my whole personality now that ever since I had my son. So, sorry, I'm going to cry. It's just the most special thing in the world, and it's such a blessing, and I really love being a mom.
Instantly thought to submit her name. Like I said in the emails that I sent you guys, you know, she's always put everyone before herself, and starting a family with her has just been spectacular, honestly. I mean, she changed into a whole new person that I fell in love with all over again.
So they were such a sweet couple, and she was definitely surprised. She was like, what is happening here? But she appreciated us showing up. We gave her a facial or massage from Hand and Stone, courtesy of Hand and Stone Massage. She said she loves massages, so she was anxious to take advantage of that. And the couple, they've known each other since high school, and as I said, been married for almost 4 years, and getting ready to add another baby to their lives. Their son, 2.5-year-old Donnie, was absolutely adorable. He loved the camera. Mom was kind of like, oh my goodness, and he was like, give me that microphone. But we had a fun time, and we got to meet her friends and family, and everybody was in on it except for her.
That, first of all, yeah, Donnie is a ham. He is so adorable and definitely made for the camera. I loved when you walked in. First of all, she looked like a deer in headlights, and you could tell this wasn't like a fabricated moment, that he had really, you know, done his homework about who she is, making sure he told us all the different things that made her so fabulous. I want to touch base on something that you've already talked to us about, the fact that she has worked with people pretty much all her career. She's a nurse. Can you just talk to us a little bit more, go into a little deeper detail about the work that she's done there?
Yeah, so I think one of the things her husband really appreciates about her is that she's a nurse. So she cares for people, and she put herself through a master's program to become a nurse practitioner. And he said she worked in a bunch of different ERs and just worked really hard to become the person that she is today. Right now she's doing telehealth, so that's really helpful. So she works from home, doing appointments and helping people, which gives her a little more leeway with her son and also with the baby on the way. But her husband said that she always has time for all her friends and family who are constantly calling her with advice, people who have kids, because she has a medical background, and she always has time for everyone. And he also said that her mom was a single mom, so she has 5 younger brothers, believe it or not, and then she has 1 older sister, so she's one of 7. So she kind of helped raise her younger brothers, so she always had that nurturing, caring quality and was just wired to be a mom. And you saw, like, she broke down in tears when the shock wore off of us being in her home when I asked her, you know, what it was like to be a mom. And, you know, we all do it. We balance a lot of balls and we love doing it, and we wouldn't trade it for the world.
Oh, moms are superheroes. Shout out to mine as well. Watching her and how full she was just talking to you, it made me a little emotional as I was thinking about my mom as well. Dawn, thank you so much for bringing us these little nuggets of good news. It makes each night like that much better and helps me through some of the tougher stories that I have to talk about with our audience. I'm sure our audience feels the same way, getting to hear some happy news for a change every now and again. So thank you for bringing this to us. I know during the 10 o'clock they'll be able to get to know a little bit more about Jessica as well, and her husband, and the baby on the way. And congratulations to her as well.
Right.
Dawn, thanks.
Absolutely. Thanks.
I'm just looking at the submission from her husband, and there were so many beautiful things that he told us, but one of the questions was, when you both became parents, what was it like? And the first thing he says here is, it was like falling in love with her all over again. What? W husband, thank you for submitting your wife. She obviously is a great mother already. She's going to be an even greater one to the second baby on the way. That is a beautiful story to keep us up to date with. Let's do a quick score check. We're keeping up with the Phillies and the Sixers tonight. So it looks like the Phillies are ahead. Wow, beautiful. We're nearing the end of the game. So this, when I sound shocked, that's because last time we saw, I want to say the A's had 3 and we had 2. So somewhere in there we got 4 runs, 6-3, not bad at all. We'll see how we end out the game before I get too excited. And on to the Sixers. Ooh, we just tied. 89-89. We're in the third quarter, 30 seconds left. We've got 1 more left. Of course, that is a lot of time for anything to happen. It's anyone's game, but we're hoping that the Sixers come out on top. Again, Monday night's game wasn't great. I'm hoping that the team came with a stronger attitude. They wanted it more. They're down there in New York City, so they got a lot to fight against. But it seems like they're doing all right. We'll check in with them in just a little while. I also want to get you guys a look at your forecast ahead. We'll take a quick break and then we'll check in with Scott Williams, our meteorologist. Welcome back to Philadelphia Live, you guys. A lot of moving pieces around the board tonight in terms of news, but I also want to make sure that you're keeping yourself up to date on the forecast. So I want to check in now with Scott, our meteorologist on duty tonight. Scott, what's going on out there?
Yeah, well, we do have a few showers still trying to move through a part of the area. That's that cold front we've been watching pretty much all day today. In fact, take a look at Ultimate Doppler and you can see we saw a few peaks of sunshine before the sun set in some areas, but the actual front, it's still pushing through the area. So we have some showers moving out of Lancaster County into Chester County, as well as some of those north and west suburbs. Take a look here as we kind of zoom in a little closer, moving from Lancaster into, of course, portions of Chester County. That's where we do have some of those showers that are popping back up across the area. Then we'll zoom into areas around Phoenixville getting wet, as well as 422 right now as you get through sections of Montgomery County. That's moving toward Lower Providence, as well as the Norristown area. Just be on the lookout for some of those showers. 202, the rain will be headed in that direction as well. Over the next half hour or so, we'll see a brief downpour kind of moving through that area. We really didn't see a whole lot of rainfall the first part of the day with that front. Most locations picked up less than 1/10 of an inch, but you can see that front is still pushing through, winds out ahead of it. Coming in out of the south and west. Behind that front, those winds are out of the north and west. That will cool us down for your Thursday. A live look right now, Independence Mall, quiet conditions out there for Philadelphia, and we're looking at temperatures that are still pretty comfortable. 69 degrees right now for Philadelphia, 65 in Doylestown, mid-60s right now in Millville, and the Poconos, you can see where that front is, that cooler air already in the mid-40s there. 50s currently for the Lehigh Valley. Those temperatures for tonight will be dipping into the mid to upper 40s far north and west. So we'll go around 53 degrees for Philadelphia, which is close to where we should be actually for this time of year. The average low, by the way, is 51 degrees. So the forecast for tomorrow, there could be a few morning showers, especially south and east of the I-95 corridor, but the temperatures, they're climbing into the low to mid 60s, below average by several degrees. Average is 72 degrees, but hey, we'll take it. Still looking pretty good for most of the area. More sunshine as the day progresses. So once again, that front is going to be moving on off to the south and east. So some morning shower chances, a 30% chance for that for Thursday. We're dry on Friday, and then the rainfall is back in the forecast for Saturday afternoon. Just keep that in mind if you have Mother's Day plans on Saturday. Then by Sunday, we're drying things out. We're heating things up. The sunshine makes a comeback, and temperatures could hit 80 degrees on Sunday for Philadelphia. And then another storm system kind of moves through with some rainfall chances as we get toward Monday. So it looks like we're getting into this pattern where every other day we have some rain, and then every other day we have a break. So as we take a look at the overall forecast for Sunday, we're looking at sunshine returning, temperatures going above average, 80 degrees, the expected high temperature for Philadelphia. And then as we look at this 7-day forecast, you can see that kind of pattern where we get that rain returning for part of the weekend on Saturday, upper 60s, 80 on Sunday, back into the mid 60s for Monday with more rainfall. Then partly sunny, upper 60s Tuesday, and then by next Wednesday, another storm system brings some rainy conditions. So I guess the warmest day over the next 7 is going to be on Mother's Day itself with that high temperature of 80 degrees. So, hey, perfect timing for Sunday, Mother's Day itself. But if you have Mother's Day plans on Saturday, plan to get a little wet out there. So, we're still kind of in this pattern of up and downs. And I mean, we've been in it since March. We're still in it. So, I mean,
strong. We've been holding on strong.
Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously don't put your umbrellas away. We're going to need them for sure for the couple of days this week.
Yep.
But it's so funny to me to see that Mother's Day is going to be like that one, it's going to be sunny. It's going to be warm. It's going to be everything. It's going to be dry. It
and
looks
hopefully
like
it holds. Hopefully this pattern holds. Right now, it's been holding that. Mother's Day looks to be the pick day of the weekend. We know things can change, but right now it looks like some showers Saturday moving in during the day. Not a washout on Saturday, but you know, if you have outdoor plans, you wanted to dine al fresco or you wanted to have a backyard barbecue on Saturday, there will be some passing showers coming through the area and cooler temperatures. I mean, we'll be in the upper 60s as opposed to the low 70s, which is where we should be for this time of year. And then we start to see the sunshine back on Sunday with some warmer temperatures. And then Monday, it's kind of rainy and cooler again.
Yeah, absolutely. When I'm thinking about the cookouts, I started to laugh to myself because, you know, there are some people, they don't care about the cold. It's always a reason to put something on the grill.
Yeah, yep. And it's kind of like, you know, what are you going to bring to the cookout? Who's going to be there? Who's making the potato salad? You know, you can't
eat everybody's potato salad. Thank you so much, Scott. All right, I'm going to let him go because I know he does still have to get ready for the 10 o'clock news. I want to make sure that he's able to do all the research that he needs to do before he gets there. But keeping things going with you guys, it was a really big morning for one Philadelphia native in particular, Colman Domingo. Right now, my whole timeline is filled with everything Michael Jackson because of the movie. And you know, Colman actually plays Joe Jackson in the movie, so he did a great job. It's one of those acting roles where they play the role so well, you're kind of mad at them. But seeing him all decked out in regalia earlier today, because he actually returned to his alma mater, Temple University. It's a very, very big deal for him because he didn't graduate from the university, yet now they want him to come back. They wanted to give him an honorary degree, and he was their 139th commencement speaker. I want to let you listen in to that speech, that address that he gave earlier today.
The accolades already bestowed upon our final honoree and speaker, Colman Domingo, are too numerous to list. But here are just a few of them. 2 Oscar nominations for Best Performance by an Actor in a Leading Role, an Emmy Award for Outstanding Guest Actor in a Drama Series, 2 Golden Globes, 2 Tony Awards, 4 Screen Actors Guild Awards, 5 Critics' Choice Awards. And he has even been named as one of the 100 most influential people in the world by Time Magazine. His accomplishments as an actor, director, producer, and playwright speak for themselves. And yet, as Colman's career has taken off, he has never forgotten where he came from. Born and raised in Philadelphia, and a graduate of Overbrook High School, both Temple and Philadelphia have always been a key part of his story. And it is a privilege to have him with us and to be able to honor him today. Colman credits Temple for helping to awaken his passion for the arts. It was his teacher in an acting course, Chris Wolf, who initially pulled Colman aside and let him know that he had a gift. Colman has said that conversation changed his life, but it has changed ours too. Thanks to that inspiration, which is precisely the kind of find yourself moment that Temple can provide, audiences around the world have had the privilege of enjoying the full breadth of Colman's performing and creative talents on stage and screens large and small for more than 30 years. From multiple roles on Broadway to an 8-year run as Victor Strand in Fear the Walking Dead, and myriad shows and movies on television and streaming services, Colman's range and versatility betray the passion and energy he has applied to his craft since that serendipitous conversation with a college professor many years ago. Colman never had the opportunity to complete his Temple degree, but his story of perseverance and success illustrates exactly what it means when we say Temple made. So Colman, let's take care of that degree, which you have earned many, many times over. I'd ask Coleman, Trustee Morgan, and Trustee Barnett to please come forward.
Mitch.
By the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees, I am pleased to confer upon you, Coleman Domingo, the degree of Doctorate of Humane Letters, honoris causa, with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining thereto. Congratulations.
So congratulations, Dr. Domingo. I now invite you to address the graduating class and our guests.
T for Temple U. Will. That's right. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? If you're from West Philly, how you doing? Good morning, Temple. Thank you to President John Fry, Robert Stroker, Jeff Yerkin, and everyone who has made this honor possible. Thank you to the students who I met with just yesterday when I was a little bit hoarse, actually, and I felt like that conversation brought life into my body again. They had hope in their eyes, questions in their hearts, and a robust energy to be the future that we all desire. Those conversations really just made me think about my journey here, honestly, especially when I was met with some of my college buddies later that evening, who I've known for 40 years. 40 years. So I was looking at that bridge of where I was and where I am now. And when I tell you, when you take that journey, you take it with the people that are in this room, you're going to be friends forever. You're going to watch each other grow. You're going to have children. You're going to move. You're going to fall in love. You're going to fall out of love. You're going to bury loved ones. You're going to eventually start retiring from the work that you've chosen when you started here. And then you'll come together on a beautiful night down at one of my favorite restaurants, and you're just the same, but different. But it's just a beautiful, beautiful journey. So I'm just reminded of that today. Now, I have some prepared words, but I'm a storyteller and I like to go off book sometimes, so bear with me. But this afternoon is not only to the graduates, the families, the aunties who ironed the grounds, the fathers that made you hit those books, the cousins who took the bus across town, the grandmothers who said a prayer before you left the house, the uncles who gave you a couple dollars to get a new pair of sneakers for the first day of school. This day also belongs to you. I come from West Philly born and raised. From row houses that held more love than square footage, from front porches where stories traveled faster than the breeze, from Samuel B. Huey School to Sarah Junior High School to Overbrook High School, to the halls of Temple University. Though it took me a long time to get my degree, I am proudly Temple made. Now, I learned a lot here at Temple. I learned a lot out by the trucks in front of SAC, where most of my friends hung out. I partied more than most people have partied at Temple University. I know how to pump the keg. I know how to dance. with the black fraternities and the white ones. My friends will let you know that's the truth. We really had a good time here. And maybe that good time kept me from getting my degree. But I learned a lot. And I learned how to be a human and how to be a part of community. I learned how to bring joy into every room that I'm a part of. I learned how to set a table, prepare a table, invite folks in. I learned a lot. I have a lifetime of friends that I met at the Student Activity Center, and I'm going to talk about them a little bit today. That's why I invited them here. I met my best friend, Guy Talley, at an audition for MTV's Remote Control. And he was with a bunch of folks. They were a very diverse group. And of course, I was kind of shy. I just came from, I didn't want to be shy anymore. I wanted to be something else. So, and then I know that's why you come to this school. I wanted to go somewhere where I was going to meet people from all over the world. So I pushed myself to go into places, in spaces. And I went there and I was shy, and Guy was the center of this whole event. And he's a tall, dark-skinned brother. He had a lot of little white people around him. And I was fascinated, who is this guy? But he was just filling the room with light. And then he invited me over. He was like, hey, who are you? Again, I'm going to give you some lessons here. Sometimes it takes someone to draw you in. He drew me in and said, come with us. Hey, my fraternity's having like a rush thing. Come by. And I knew I wanted to be a part of community, and he invited me in. And it was truly wonderful. And I met a whole lot of people that I carry with me for the rest of my life. Then I joined the African American Student Union. And I learned a little bit more about myself, things that I had questions about, things that I didn't know, because I also wanted to know how to navigate this world. And so all my building blocks were coming from here at Temple, being involved in community. I worked at Barnes & Noble bookstore that used to be downtown on like 15th and Walnut. And I was always taking care of the self-help section and the travel section. So that'll tell you a lot. I wanted to wander and be in the world. And also I wanted to learn how to become a person, because I just thought I didn't have all the tools. And I know I was gaining all those tools while I was in school. And that was also part of my journey. And then after, I was working like a couple jobs. Now, anyone will tell you I always keep a lot of jobs. Yes, you see me on television and film all the time because I like to keep a job. And that started when I was, here. I was working so hard, my grades were suffering, and I just thought I'd take a break. My mom said, you can always go back to school, so take a break. Well, I took a break and I moved to San Francisco with Guy Talley. Guy, I owe you a lot. Guy, he said, hey, there's 3 of us living in a studio apartment in the Tenderloin districts of San Francisco. You should be the 4th. Well, when you're 20 years old, that sounds like a good idea. And I did. And I moved to San Francisco, and that's where I began my career as a stage performer. And I learned a lot. So my journey has always been, because I didn't have the degree, I started to use everything as my school. And I would go to rehearsals that I wasn't even called for because I was learning by people who did it before me. And I also wanted to have a practice of the culture as well. And I implore you to do that. Your education will not end today. I think it's a jumping off point so you can learn some more. You can be in every room that you're in, whatever your chosen profession is. And even if you have an idea of what your chosen profession is, part of my journey has been being open to what is possible, to something else that may spark your attention or imagination while you're on that journey. You are here at Temple University to gain a whole lot of tools for your life. And I'm going to tell you something that this artist Joy Carlin told me when I was a young artist in San Francisco. And I happened to be on a panel with her because I was actually a young artistic director. And someone raised their hand and said, oh, hey, Miss Carlin, I've been in class doing this. I've been learning this. I've been in this school, this university, studying this one thing that I've been wanting to do. Do you have any advice for me? And she said something that I think changed me and cracked me wide open. She said, oh, it's great. I love that you've been studying all of that towards your profession. Now, I want you to live, because you need life too. You need to have an interest in arts, in sciences, in travel. You need to fall in love. You need to fall out of love. You need to move somewhere. You need to do something strange. You need to try something. You need to exist and be. And most importantly, you need to be curious. Be curious. Be curious in other people, in other cultures, other ideas, people who don't think like you do. That has been my entire career. I play a lot of characters, one in particular that's out right now. That's not a plug for it, but you can go see Michael in movie theaters right now. But I'm saying that to say I'm attracted to characters that I feel that I'm curious about, and I feel like I'm not like them at all. For me, it's trying to find the bridge of our humanity. In every character that I play, it could be Victor Strand, it could be Ali in Euphoria, it could be Danny in The Four Seasons, it could be Mist in The Color Purple. I am all of those men. All of those men live in and could live inside this body. For me, that's part of being the human experience and being a human being and believing that we're all alike. And I think that energy, hopefully, and I've chosen this career path as a creative in a way that I feel like I can change the world a little bit, just a little bit. And I think if that's all we can do is move the needle little by little, then we're making a difference. We're making a greater difference. I want to inspire you to look forward, but I also want you to look back at the table that's been set for your success. I think about my mother today. My mother, I was the first in my family to go to college. And I didn't get in here easily either. I was in a program that I don't even know if they have anymore called Special Recruitment and Admissions Program. That was a program because I didn't exactly have the grades. Now remember, I'm a creative mind. I wasn't so great at math and things like that. But I came into Temple, and you're with the Special Recruitment and Admission Program, and then eventually you can get out of that. You got to take some specialty classes, to get your grades up and then matriculate. And with that, I was like, wow, I had the opportunity to go to college and to be the first one in my family to go to college. And it was meaningful to me. Because like Maya Angelou says, when I walk on stage, I'll walk in with hundreds and thousands of people behind me. And there are hundreds and thousands of people behind you in generations. And they're watching you. Today, they're watching you because you did it. You put in the work. You put in the effort. You woke up. You showed up. You showed out. And then you showed up and showed out. Can I give some love to Jennifer's high heels today? Sister, you did that. She showed up and showed out. She put that shit on. Sonia Sanchez, who taught here, she said, I shall become a collector of me and put meat on my soul. I hope to inspire you to do that today. I know that that's been part of my journey. To be a collector of me, it's representations of yourself and people and community, who you see, who you want to advocate for, who you believe is a reflection of you. And you can make and reframe a reflection of the world together. And truly, that will put meat on your soul. I want to also give you a quote from one of my favorite writers, James Baldwin. Because I don't just want to inspire you with some words to get out of here and make a new life for yourself and go get that career you want. I want to talk about love. Because you're going to need love out there. You're going to need it to sustain you when times are tight, when the doors are closed, when it seems like there are no opportunities, where you have missteps. Love. He said, the longer I live, the more deeply I learn that love, whether we call it friendship or family or romance, is the work of mirroring and magnifying each other's light. Gentle work, steadfast work, life-saving work. In those moments when life and shame and sorrow occlude our own light from our view, but there's still a clear-eyed, loving person to beam it back. In our best moments, we are the person for another. Find some words that encourage your soul, always. Find that, put that in your toolbox and take it with you. I played a character. Wow, not a character. I played a human being who made an incredible impact in the whole world, named Bayard Rustin. He said, we need in every community a group of angelic troublemakers. I have a couple angelic troublemakers in the house with me today. My friend, Rochelle Horowitz, an 84-year-old rabble-rouser. She has become my Jewish mama. She also organized transportation for Bayard Rustin when they were organizing the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom. Rochelle Horowitz and I have become such close friends and family. And our text feed is spicy, and it's interesting, and it's weird, and it's philosophical, and it's loving, and it's trying. But the beautiful thing is, I love that we become friends because of her experience and what she's experienced, but also she's willing to grow and change, and I have an impact on her, and she has an incredible impact on me. And I feel, I don't know, a bit more a part of the world. I encourage you to have friendships with people with generations ahead of them and some behind you, because we can all learn something from each other. Now, I stayed up one night and I decided to write a love letter to Temple University and to Philadelphia. I hope you don't mind if I share it with you. Philadelphia, a city that teaches you how to stand your ground and still keep your heart open. And standing here with you at Temple University, I feel the electricity of that same grit, that same tenderness, and that same refusal to be small. Temple is not for the faint of heart. Temple is for the called. Called to wake up before sun and chase a dream that doesn't yet have a name. Called to work 2 jobs and still show up to class with your head held high. Called to believe that education is not just a ladder, but a light. You did not arrive here by accident. You arrived here by insistence. Insistence that your story matters. Insistence that your mind is worthy. Insistence that where you start does not dictate where you finish. And I know something about insistence. I know about being told no in rooms that smelled like expensive cologne and low expectations. I know about auditioning for a life that no one could quite picture for me. I know about the long walk home after disappointment, when the city lights felt like questions instead of answers. But here's what Philadelphia teaches you, and also Temple University, for you to keep walking. You keep walking past the doubt. You keep walking past the fear. You keep walking until the dream catches up with you. Graduates, the world you're stepping into is complicated. I will not lie to you. It is loud. It is sometimes unkind, but it is also waiting. Waiting for your particular voice, your particular vision, your particular brand of courage. Because courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is showing up any fucking way. Courage is saying, I belong here before anyone hands you a seat. Courage is building the table when no one offers you a chair. And make no mistake, you are builders. Builders of family that will look different because of you. Builders of communities that will be kinder because of you. Builders of futures that right now exist only in your imagination. Do not underestimate the power of your imagination. It is the first place that freedom lives. I want you to remember something as you leave this campus. Your softness is not a liability. Your tenderness is not weakness. In a world that rewards sharp edges, I want you to be the velvet. Be the listening. Be the one who remembers that people are not problems to be solved, but stories to be understood. I believe in my heart that this is how we change the world, not with volume, but with depth. Temple has given you knowledge. Philadelphia has given you resilience. Life will now ask you for your integrity. Guard it. Guard your integrity like it's the last dollar in your pocket. Guard your integrity like it's your grandmother's recipe. Like it's the only map you have when the road gets foggy, because there will be moments, oh my God, there will be moments when it will become easier to shrink than to shine, easier to agree than to question, easier to blend than to stand tall. Stand tall anyway. Stand tall for the kid you used to be who dared to imagine this day. Stand tall for the people back home who see you as proof that possibility is real. And when you forget who you are, and you will, trust me, because we all do, come back to your breath. Come back to your body. Come back to the quiet voice inside you that says, keep going. You know what that voice is? That voice is older than fear. That voice is wiser than doubt. That voice is yours. Graduates, success is lovely. Awards are shiny. Titles are impressive. But character is the legacy. Be the kind of person who answers the phone when someone is in trouble. Be the kind of person who tells the truth when it's inconvenient. Be the kind of person who makes the room. I always tell people, I don't want to be at the party. I want to be the party. Make every room at every table you sit at love. Because you did not climb this mountain alone, and you are not meant to stand at the top by yourself. So I leave you by saying this. Go out into this world as your whole self, your Philly self, your Temple self, your complicated, brilliant, unstoppable self. And when they ask you, will you learn to be this resilient, this compassionate, this ready? Tell them, I'm Temple made, baby. My sincerest congratulations to the class of 2026. May you get out into this world and make it your own. We believe in you. We're waiting on you. Make a difference. Be the difference. Be in community. Spread as much love as you can, because that's exactly what we need. We need your ideas, your imagination. We need you to build houses where there were none. We need you to take part. We need you to stand up. We need you to sometimes put your body in places where they are uncomfortable and make a difference and move the needle on this whole world. God bless you. I'm so proud to be part of you.
Beautiful speech there, and congratulations to Colman Domingo again, the actor who was born and raised in Philadelphia. He kept shouting out West Philly. Who came back to his alma mater to give the 139th commencement address. Not only did he get to speak, but he was also given an honorary degree, a very big moment for him. He is officially Temple made. It is never too late to be what you could have been. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I want to talk to you about what Philly's talking about. What are the trending stories? Touch base in a second. Welcome back to Philadelphia Live. You guys, we're closing out the show, but there's still so much that we need to talk about. First and foremost, just got the score. It is not good. We fell, unfortunately, to the New York Knicks once again, but the score was so much closer than it was on Monday. 102-108 is not bad, given that Nick Nurse actually yesterday he went to his brother's funeral and came and coached tonight's game. And then, of course, we also played without Joel Embiid. So
it was a really, really close game.
It was. They
really
fought
close.
tooth and nail throughout the
Yes.
game. Halftime, we were tied, I
Yes.
believe. Yeah,
Yes.
so not bad at all.
Neck and neck the entire time.
Well, we were mentioning that Joel has been out. Doctors said that he could not play in tonight's
Yes.
game because he had an ankle injury and a hip injury.
Yes.
And at the beginning of the game, we asked you guys on social media, was that the right move? Was that the right decision to bench him? And we wanted to know what y'all thought.
Yeah. So we did a poll. You can find it fox29.com/go vote under the Fox Local tab. And we basically asked, do you think him not being in the game tonight is the right call? And 51% of people think yes, and 33% think no. 16% had mixed thoughts and left comments on social media. So
Once again, looking at that score, it's very close. I mean,
Yes.
did it really make a difference? It looks like the guys pulled up
Yeah.
and did what they needed to do, regardless of if they had him on the court or not. So, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Well, brought Jake Leonard up to the desk. He's part of our digital team. I wanted to know what the people are talking about. What's trending? What's Philly talking about?
yeah, so I have a really interesting story that I pulled from our website.
Okay.
So this happened yesterday, but I didn't hear about it. So maybe you didn't hear about it.
Okay.
So basically yesterday, the FDA announced a really, really big policy change. They authorized, for the first time, fruit-flavored electronic cigarettes for adult smokers.
Fruit? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So
I got
hold
thoughts.
on. Yes. There's a lot to this. So basically they authorize these e-cigarettes flavors beyond tobacco and menthol. So mango, blueberry, things like that. So it applies specifically to products made by a Los Angeles-based company. I believe it's pronounced Glass Inc. I'm not 100% sure, but they're under the name Gold and Sapphire.
Okay.
And so the FDA emphasized that these products are for adult smokers to hopefully kind of get off of cigarettes and reduce the use, not endorsing vaping at all. So obviously a big question, probably something that you're thinking is, what about the young people, because it's going to be more enticing.
The colors, the flavors.
Yes.
So far, that has been like a really big issue for these companies.
Yes. So to prevent youth access, these devices require a digital age verification system. So I know. Listen to this.
Okay.
So users must verify their age with a government ID on their smartphone. Okay. So then the e-cigarette will then only function when connected to Bluetooth to the phone.
That's
So
some next level stuff
yes,
right there.
isn't that
That's the
yes?
future.
Yes. So obviously the FDA said that this is a game changer in protecting young people from these vapes. So
Okay, once again, I got questions. Obviously, these are e-cigarettes that we're talking about, so it's probably a lot easier to do it with a product like that. But I'm wondering, I think ahead. Could this be implemented for other products?
Yes.
Like, could they put a system like this on caps to alcohol?
Yes.
Or I don't know what else is out there that maybe you shouldn't be getting into. But
Yeah.
just, wondering all the different ways that it could be used.
No.
Okay, so this is
Yeah.
just yesterday they made this
yes,
announcement.
yes.
Okay, and I hadn't heard about it.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. So I guess it's going to slowly go into effect.